Hello everybody and welcome to Alpha Brackets here in the January 2026 edition of Loink. First one of the year. My name is Kyun, joined by my good friend DRF. DRF, how are you at least doing this morning?
Oh man, it is a bright and early morning here on the West Coast. I'm still waking up a little bit. I'm hoping that some of these teams can, accelerate the whole waking up thing here. So excited to jump into it. Kyon, I know it's been a while since you and I have gotten to share the mic, especially here on Low Ink. It feels like it's like a, sort of a biannual tradition, or maybe quarterly. I don't know. I forget when the last time it was that we were on the mic together, but it's always a pleasure.
We always love being on the mic together. Even more weirder is because we usually end up doing the first day and we are here for the second day, which is
I think
it's more exciting.
Exciting.
It's awesome. we get to see which team wins. Alpha Bracket gets the Low Ink band certificate, or I like to personally call the Low Ink graduation ceremony coming up for them. And by the way, it's Wash My Belly versus Octaves. I'm gonna throw in a little factoid for those in the audience tuning in today. If you are getting deja vu with the two teams, if you watched yesterday, you're not mistaken. Octaves was on the last set, and Wash My Belly was actually the team that got shown off right out of the gate yesterday as well. So I think Wash My Belly is gonna have some deja vu coming into the day. And of course that's where it stands. Otherwise, both teams pretty much looking to get their strong start here. As DRF, we kick off its best of threes this time, and it's Mega Mart zones for the leadoff. I think this should be correction. Mahi Mahi Resort, different M letter one
changing right before your very eyes.
Yep.
Yes, so Splat Zones of Mahi Mahi Resort. That's where we're gonna be kicking things off in this round one best of three. If I'm not mistaken, this should be the only best three on the winner's side. Or is round two also best of three?
I think round two is also best of three, and it is.
Okay.
But what's interesting is, if I'm not mistaken, these are all counter picks. Right?
Yes, there you go. That's the main thing, is that yes, we are going to be getting counter picks throughout the entire bracket. So at least everything we'll see here on stream. So we don't really know what is going to be coming up. It's going to be just map by map. We'll see what these teams sort of lean into. So Splat Zones Mahi Mahi Resort, a great map mode for teams to kind of start to feel each other out on. The only thing I would say with Splat Zones Mahi in particular is that this is one of those map modes that people will bring out some less conventional things sometimes. Everyone always knows about the reef slider cheese that is relatively popular on this map mode. So in a way, it's a little bit hard to fully feel out your opponent on something like Mahi Mahi, but given that it's very traditionally an early map mode that you'll see in these sets, you kind of have to do with the information you're given.
And what's even funnier, by the way, as exactly what you noted too, with what you were given here, it's funny because I'm actually doing a little bit of quick lookups here for everybody, especially with Wash My Belly to tee us off. They actually let off in Mahi Mahi Resort Zones yesterday for round 1, so it is genuine deja vu for them yesterday. They played against Hydrogen for round 1 yesterday, so this is. Maybe they will go back to the strategy they had. They actually, so looking up their comp yesterday, they had a Dualies, they had a Wiper, they had actually the third kid Tri-Stringer, by the way, and I think the Blaster is what I see so far. I wouldn't be shocked if they go back to those again. Octaves that we saw yesterday, DRF, had some screen time yesterday. The less said about that, the better for those who are in the loop. That I'd be curious to see how these two teams go. They made alpha brackets anyway from what we saw from day 1, so I think if anything, how this first map kicks everything off is going to be the big thing here, as we are about to load right into Mahi Mahi zones to get this show on the road, as we do get to see the weapons loading in, some of them not entirely surprising from a distance here, as I have to take a quick look at the roster. Yes, it is going to be Wash My Belly on the blue side. Purple side is Octaves, or pinkish side, correction, is Octaves. Anything that strikes out to you, DRF?
Well, the thing that immediately stands out is that we are getting a Tri-Stringer duel here. Now, both these players, I believe, do regularly run the Tri-Stringer, but it's still a surprise nonetheless, because it's not often that you do get two players in the same lobby that utilize the Tri-Stringer. It's just not that common of a weapon, but it creates for some fascinating duels, as we see Rose going to be utilizing that Zipcaster to get the mid-air shutdown on the jetpack.
Yeah, right away with Rose using that Zipcaster, knowing that the first focus was to basically get that jetpack out of the board, and that's exactly what we saw. And it does lead to Octaves actually being slightly with that advantage so far. Excuse me. Wash My Belly still trying to combat it. Rose goes down with them. It's a 1-for-1 trade across the board, and Peace by using the triple splashdown to at least force neutral. Everybody's still trying to barely move forward right now, but losing the decap isn't gonna help. Losing the dualies ain't gonna help either. And it's now advantage Octaves. It's 3 down. I think DRF, this could be the game right away here from Octaves. About 12 points remaining. The respawn's not necessarily favoring them. And DRF right out of the game from the first game. Octaves strikes first, and it's game 1 going over to them.
Yeah, a beautiful execution there to quickly gain back control of the zone, despite, losing that initial power grab. But here we are. They managed to flip that one back on its head and take game number 1. It seemed like, I was really focused in on the battle of the Tri-Stringers there. And I think one thing that, especially with the Tri-Stringers, is that it does slow down your options a little bit, especially as you start to get pushed back, because especially with the Tri-Stringer, it's not, the fastest backline, or it doesn't necessarily have the greatest reach to try to make big plays on its own. And I think that we definitely saw that a little bit from Wash My Belly. Every time they got shut down, the Tri-Stringer really didn't have a choice but to fully back up. And it's a little bit of a trickier weapon to utilize to hold positions, but especially if your team's offense is flowing like it was in Octaves, I mean, that Tri-Stringer could pretty much go anywhere and just be an absolute nuisance, build up these tiny little ink walls that make it so difficult to break through. So that's really what I was focused in on that first match, and I'm curious to see if that's going to continue.
Wouldn't be shocked if we do get to see the Tri-Stringer make its return, even on Wash My Belly down 1-0. They'll have to make a counter pick. Now, it's interesting to see best of 3 counter picks here, DRF. You normally, you go anywhere else, you see counter picks right around that best of 5 marker. This is basically the one counter pick, and it has to be the counter pick that gets them the victory here. So it's basically a collection match that they're choosing because since he didn't win the previous one, of course. So ultimately, I wouldn't be. I wanted to see from Wash My Belly if they want to stick, especially with the decap being the interesting wrinkle for this group. wanting to see how. I want to see what map they want to use that takes advantage of, not just the treachery they have, but they also have the blaster and that decav that showed up. And I think they have a lot of good options there. And I think they're mulling over it, especially with this being only your one best map that you have against Octave.
Yeah, and actually, the one thing that I wanted to circle back to here with the rosters is actually with Wash My Belly. We do have a number of CCA folks, and I'm obligated to shout them out for that particular reason. With Galanka, I know plays for Reef Runners, Peace with the UCF Knights, Disco, I believe is WPI. So, a lot of very actually familiar faces that I was kind of looking at the roster. I was like, okay, wait, hold on a second. So, so yeah, no, a lot of fantastic players. I mean, these are all key players on their respective collegiate rosters. So I'm interested to see how things have been meshing for them so far. I mean, they got up to this point, so the things have to be going right to at least some extent. But I am curious to see how the dynamics are going to continue to go through this set, especially with these counter picks now in play.
I know you are probably ready to get the CCA lore ready to go once you saw them. It's funny because you mentioned Galanka. Like, that's definitely a name I've seen from the CCA side of the fence. I'm glad you even covered that as well. So love to see it here as the second map being picked by Wash My Belly. It is Hagglefish Market Tower Control. Now, I think I kind of see where they're trying to go with this. If they want to stick with the weapons that they have, it's actually not necessarily a bad map. You got a blaster player that showed you. The decav, especially with the bubble usage, is going to prove to be key. Ultimately, what I'm going to be intrigued to see is how this all meshes together. I think for Octaves is all right. We see their counterpick now. How do we work against that? And I think it starts to become a game of chess, basically, DRF, when we get to these counterpick choices. So, I mean, I want to see how this Hagglefish Market Tower Control game gets set up here. I'm sure the exact same questions are going to be answered here from Octaves, as we do see. Okay, Disco's going to be switching over to that is the Sticker Snappers. That's the one with the Booyah Bomb in play. We are still going to get your Tri-Stringer duel at the very least. I think minimal changes I saw from Octaves here. DRF, anything that seems surprising to you, or no surprises here?
Definitely. So as we had mentioned with Mahi Mahi Resort, it's one of those map modes where you can't fully anticipate that those are weapons that everyone's going to be sticking with, and that rings true especially for Wash My Belly, but not quite the adjustments that I was anticipating from Wash My Belly as they find the 3 down. Just Rose left standing, but was going to be forced to jump out, and Wash My Belly off to a hot start here.
Wash My Belly, by the way, a well-placed Booyah Bomb that takes out 2 from the left side, add the additional pick to the right. And when you have a strong opening like that right away from Wash My Belly, that can give you a lot of room to work with. Disco left uncontested. It is a 2-member onslaught onto their base, but they lose both of them in the process. Even with the 2-for-2 trade, can Jesse at least get the first checkpoint? The answer so far is he'll get two picks for themselves, and that will for sure be the first checkpoint. The nice little power swap there, and you're at the treacherous second checkpoint is approaching. Everybody starts to move to the right hand side of the map, and now for Octaves, can they play defensive? Can they get the defense started? There's a pick on Nakora, and it looks like they will wisely have to retreat. They got more than what they could ask for, though. He's still very much alive. Peace is still in base there, DRF. I think Wash My Belly has a lot of room to work with at the very least.
They have their hands full. And Octaves doing everything they can, but able to find 2, make it a 3rd, and finally this push is shut down. That push lasted for over a minute because they got that tower moving about 30 seconds in with that 3 down plus the jump out, and now 3:20 remaining is when it finally resets. Now Octaves looking to see if they can just running out of that zip caster a little bit too soon to make a big offensive play here. So this tower remains in neutral territory, but it's going to come down to, this next team fight here. Not a lot of specials online, except for that Booyah Bomb that just came through, but it looks like we're going to have a bit of a special drought for just a minute here. So everyone, I think, is going to just slow things down and try to fight for position and try to build up the specials once again.
I think you're exactly gonna be on the money here, especially with both teams having both Booyah Bombs in play here. We take a look at the dueling tri-strings. Sometimes having to play the secondary story here to this one. It's gonna come down to really your special usage, especially if you can utilize that Booyah Bomb to get a full control of the map, or even getting a handful of picks that they want to target right away. But with the way the game is kind of playing out so far, it's going to come down to the picks that Octaves needs. And Rose really wasn't the one that got the 2, but the rest of the team was able to follow suit. And now Octaves has a nice little counter push coming up here. Peace has to retreat to the other side of the map, and that will at least be the first checkpoint. Maybe breaking through. They are having to do a few tower swaps here and there to get themselves set up for success. S-Blast gonna drop as well. It is gonna be picks going left and right here, close to the second checkpoint. Peace is trying to target Pure Snow, which they are able to, but they are gonna get caught out there by strings. Kind of a crazy skirmish across the board here, DRF. And so far, Octaves is still keeping the gas pedal going, but they may have to slow down a bit.
Yeah, they're gonna have to pull back. Right, it looks like someone tried to make a move for the tower. Does get shut down there. So things now for sure have to slow down, but Octaves doesn't want to quite give it up yet. They're continuing to be aggressive, but kind of throwing themselves into isolated situations that's costing them one by one. So they are finding a couple trades here, but now the tower has fully reset. And able to dodge right around the triple splashdown as well. Rose somehow gets out of that unharmed, and okay, that's a great move, followed by just getting shut down by turning the corner. So this tower though back into an aggressive position. Aura able to get a trade. But more importantly, this tower now within 3 points of getting the lead, but not gonna get there. An absolute bizarre skirmish there to Wash My Belly to somehow hold on to the lead.
I don't know how Wash My Belly was even able to hold off defensively there with how messy that fight became, because I thought Rose at least would have gotten the advantage with the crab tank. But nevertheless, it is still an advantage Wash My Belly. Now they burned the Booyah Bomb earlier, so you don't have GG specials in play, but you have Core that at least can play for spacing there right away here. They dropped the Sigurd Sampers. Someone has to touch the tower at the very least. It's Pure Snow all the way through, but they are going to lose everybody in the process. They didn't even need the GG specials whatsoever. Octaves just a little too far ahead. Wash My Belly got control. Hey, DRF, best of 3, no matter the cost, we're going the distance. And now it's Octaves' turn to see what map they want to get their to get this set to be in their favor. What a response though, DRF, right away to get this one started.
Yeah, they definitely, hit hard and fast early in that one. Wash My Belly seemed like they were in control for most of that game. Now, Octaves was really close. They got within striking distance twice. So they definitely had Wash My Belly a little bit on the back foot there, especially in the second half. But they were able to actually hold on, which was fantastic. A couple of huge clutch plays. It seemed like a lot was kind of happening, not necessarily like on the tower itself, but a lot of the action was kind of happening in the peripheral of the tower, where folks were getting in, especially on Wash My Belly side, were hitting angles that were making it a little bit more difficult for Octaves to devote all their resources towards the tower, and thus isolating anybody that was making a move on the tower, which resulted in just one by one Octaves going down left and right. I think that really was the key there for Wash My Belly to take that game. You could tell that was a perfect map mode choice for them, because they executed that to perfection, to what it felt like they were used to. And Keone, as I say that, I'm gonna be. We were both thinking this. But I did not want to say anything.
I wanted to see what they wanted to pick. Now it gets our hearts. There might be some bias in our statements here, DRF, with Rainmaker. I want to see what Octaves can take advantage here with Humpback Pump Drive Rainmaker. Fundamentally another different map mode. There they had the S-Blast, the Tri-Stringer that rounds up that comp, along with that NZAP as well. So I think I kind of see what they're trying to go for here. You got a much more condensed map. You can play a lot more. You can play a lot more fighting oriented there. You can also try to see if Rose can take advantage with their Octobrush, with their Zipcaster Octobrush as well. So I think I kind of see the vision. But I know DRF, this gets our hearts a lot here because we've seen our fair share of fun Rainmaker maps in the past.
Yep, absolutely. So if history has ever told us something, it's that when Kyoto DRF are on the mic, you're bound to get a set-deciding final game Rainmaker game that is bound to be interesting. And now, Kyo, this was the follow-up question that I was going to ask is, do we see the pivots to the Wellstring because it is Rainmaker? And the answer is yes and yes.
I think both teams answer that twofold there as well. Okay, so both teams apparently are sharing the same brain cell, to say the least there, DRF. They're both Tri-Stringer players, and they're gonna both switch over to the Wellstring. This is of course vanilla with that Ultra Stamp variant there. Honestly, probably the pick you gotta make. As well, Tri-Stringer kind of doesn't work itself out well. Jesse somehow dodges the Ultra Stamp. We'll break down the weapons in greater detail here soon, because so far, Watch My Belly's already off to a hot start, as you noted before, as you mentioned several times before. It is going to be the first checkpoint cleared right out of the gate here. The question is, how fast can this push go? Because they are going to go full speed ahead here, but with 2 members dropped, Disco still getting the pick on the snow might help their cause, but they may not have enough paint to make this one happen. But your Watch My Belly is still keeping the pressure going.
Somehow that hammer able to just barely grab the edge of the hitbox there. And now it's Octaves who's able to force the Rainmaker reset. Watch My Belly with a fantastic opening minute push. But Octaves now the one in the potential driver's seat here, as they have the special online, but no, now they've used all their specials. So Octaves not working with anything, was able to at least get themselves back into a mid position, but now all their resources are gone, and they have to retreat back into the elbow. Now Pure Snow gonna be able to start this one out as, oh, they're gonna get called out there. So this is now starting to look a little bit iffy again for Octaves, as Watch My Belly looking to turn that corner. Just a little bit of pressure, trying to slow things down. And with Jesse now the last one up, it looks like it's gonna be their final stand in this push, and it is over. Octaves now gonna get another opportunity to reclaim mid and see if they can, utilize these specials maybe just a little bit later and get some points on the board.
And exactly what you noted there too, the special usage was going to be the big thing here, as Rose immediately tries to dive deep into this one, gets 2 picks with that Kraken, is able to get the 3rd, and this is huge. This is going to be the Rainmaker now moving forward here. Jesse finally getting the Ultra Stamp, sending 1 member away, and gets the 2nd pick as well. Full of highlight real shenanigans in play, and it leads to the Octaves lead swap there, all enabled honestly by great special usage. William was there to provide some coverage. There is the perfect usage of the Kraken, managing to be able to use the Kraken to its full potential there with 2 picks, and then able to get the 3rd with that Octobrush as well, and it pretty much allowed the lead change to happen. But now Octaves maybe quickly lose their lead on the other side, and they do lose their lead on the other side as well. Both teams trading blow for blow here in a very condensed, chaotic map, as the Rainmaker finally dropped to lower ground. Octaves only held the lead for maybe a few moments here, DRF, but it was Watch My Belly had the response. I take that back. String gets another pick. This has been a crazy map, to say the least here, DRF.
It was bound to happen, Keone.
Yup.
Fate never lets us have a rest when it comes to Rainmaker. And we are so back, baby, as these teams continue to deliver. It is now Octaves looking for the 4th lead swap of the game. And no, they are going to get shut down right there by the checkpoint. Things slowing down once again. But it is going to be up to Watch My Belly to put up an iron defense. And it doesn't look like they got the pop quite yet. Are they going to try to manage this? No. Okay, they're going to go ahead and finally get that pop out there. So It is going to be Jesse that finds the pick with the well string. And now it looks like everybody going to be moving back into mid. They want to try to get it back into a nice position here. But
no!
3 down. Rose going for the pop now. This is a golden opportunity for Octaves to try to find a response as members slowly coming back up and Watch My Belly. They turn the corner with rapid pacing, trying to make a move here, but it's gonna be the hammer that finds one. Strings now has to back up, try to be able to get their teammates to get back into the action. And PO with 30 seconds to play, it looks like Octaves, they're gonna go 3 down and make it a wipeout. Is this it? It looks like it just might be.
It might be the game here. The respawn's not necessarily favoring them. They have an Ultra Stamp that is no longer available. Right as I noted that, Disco immediately gets a pick and they lose it. So now Rose has to now swim the other direction. Jesse knows where everybody is. Everybody's just trying to cross right into them. That's 2 members that have dropped. Now it's at least guaranteed overtime. Somebody has to pick up this Rainmaker at the very least. Who's going to be the one on Rainmaker duty in the final stage of this game? It's going to be Rose. They're not going to have an Octo Brush. They are going to get Collapse Spawn. That's the Blue Bomb being pushed out to the left-hand side of the map. Everybody's now crouching to this left-hand side, but they got completely cornered. It's cornered there. I have to see who got the pick, but I think that may have been Disco there that got him through in the corner. DRF, multiple lead changes. One great opportunity for Octaves just wasn't enough in the end. And Watch My Belly will win the set. They move on to the next round. And that is going to be Octaves. They'll have to go do it in the lower bracket, see if they can make that one forward. But what a crazy end to a very fun best of 3.
That was our opening round, folks. That was a fantastic game number 3 with the lead swaps left and right. A last-second Hail Mary that had some potential there from Octaves, but it was just a little, it was too little, too late. So a fantastic effort nonetheless. Watch My Belly gonna be moving on 2-1. I mean, yo, this set, despite it being only a best of 3 in the first round, felt like it had everything. It was a great tone setter for what is hopefully going to be a great tournament today.
I hope you guys are gonna stick around and watch this tournament even further here, because yeah, that was a great tone setter there. We got our next match coming up here, which I'll talk in just a bit. Final thoughts with that particular map. I think the special usage just being burned a little too early with not enough patience. Also, they might have cost them a few quick moments there from Octaves. So especially in the key point earlier where they just got wiped out with 20 seconds left. Again, last-ditch effort trying to push for the left-hand side. It was pretty much their only option at the time, but just getting completely caught in the corner there. So nice attempt from Octaves. They still got one more chance. They got to do it in lower brackets there, but hey, that's how it goes. Round 2 bound for Watch My Belly. We got a new set of teams here. M.A.D versus Rising Beyond the Tides. Now, for both teams that I remembered here, Rising Beyond the Tides was a name I definitely at least recognized from previous low inks, though. Quickly, and I'm wanting to see how far they went. They finished 9th in the November 2025 edition of low ink, and then runner up in June. So they're on pace to get that low ink ban eventually there. So hope to see if they can produce another strong result. M.A.D is gonna be a team I'm being intrigued to see how far they place. So I think but so far both teams they swept their previous sets, so I want to see how both teams deliver.
Yeah, you know, taking a look at what these teams have to offer, kind of poking around their compositions here. You know, we're gonna see actually. Ooh, are we gonna see a Dynamo in this set? It looks like we might have a Dynamo player. At least I'm looking on the side of M.A.D, and there's actually quite a diverse arsenal. So, especially with having 6 members on the roster as well, there's a lot of different combinations they could run. Obviously, it depends on who is available today. So that part we don't fully know yet. So we'll see who they enter into game number 1 here. But I'm seeing the likes of Tent, the ZNF Charger, the Dread Ringer, a Dynamo. So a lot of interesting choices. Blaster, that looks like a lot of different blasters. So M.A.D is going to certainly be running some unique combinations of compositions.
I actually would be wanting. I would love to see if M.A.D brings out just a wide range of weapons that pretty much suits them, especially when you enter counterpick territory here, where hey, these maps might work out for us, or maybe this will work out against the Rising Beyond the Tides there. So I want to see how far they go. Also dug out some of their previous results. I don't see a low ink result for them, and if this is their first low ink, it's a great place to be. Several strong finishes in other tournaments, especially All for One being one of them. So I want to see how far M.A.D goes through this one. But of course, I know Rising Beyond the Tides are looking to see if they can get another high placement coming up here. So I think we got everything teed up here as much as we could. We gotta load up into the game here. Rising Beyond the Tides on the Bravo side. It's gonna be the Alpha side for M.A.D. Weapons are being loaded here. Of course, game one being Ramen Zones to kick us off here. That is the third kit mini, the one with the Zuka making its appearance there, along with the beacons as well from Adrian. So wanted to see how that all plays out, and so far, I think this is almost as standard as you can somewhat get here from M.A.D, other than the big mini as on top of it. Ultra Sam not able to get a pick, but so far M.A.D gets the first zones cap here, DRF.
Rising Beyond the Tides running definitely a less conventional composition, but I am living for it. The roller combined with the Squelcher is certainly, you know, a really fun and intriguing combination, and I'm really going to be curious to see how all of this kind of pairs together, as we do see Puppy now trying to set up a little bit of a flank here, but are they going to be able to get by? And no, they don't. It looks like a couple of players pivot their direction, try to shut them down. So this zone exchanged back and forth early on. Both teams get a reasonable early opening possession here to get down to the 70s on the scoreboard.
Yeah, opening possessions for both teams down to close to 70s. M.A.D is going to be going down a little bit further than that here points-wise, as I'm kind of dissecting here. It's kind of a interesting mini mirror. Obviously, different kits abound. That I want to see how the minis themselves, main weapon-wise, kind of delivers here. You know, there too, Roller and Squelcher, a combination that I feel like well, actually, I shouldn't say I feel like it definitely doesn't get a lot of airtime. Across most of the places that we've seen, so I want to see how that all synergizes with each other. You got the zap for that floral and painting coverage as well, so wanted to see how that plays against against a somewhat conventional setup that M.A.D's got. Oh. I just saw that Ultra Sam. That got two right away. They will be out of respawns quick, but that will give them the space that they need. M.A.D now in good position for the lockout if they want to push for it, but knowing that they may want to play this one a little bit safely here. Core being dished up front. Rising Beyond the Tides is looking for that response here as DRF M.A.D is past the halfway point.
What a play there by Agent 8 to be able to jump on in there, get a quick pick, realize that they're not in position, and get the jump out to just back up 2 feet, but that 2 feet was enough to keep them alive. But now it looks like this zone is going to exchange hands once again. So Rising Beyond the Tide's going to get their turn. Not going to let this one go quietly as they quickly work through their penalty now, trying to shrink this lead as much as possible, possibly even look for the lead themselves, but there's a lot of contention coming in from M.A.D, and it looks like they're gonna be able to hold on as Puppy gets the double. Now they see some red here, they're looking for the triple, not able to find it quite yet, but causes just enough havoc to slow down M.A.D and buy their team potentially enough time to get the lead, but with 3 down, they're going to come just shy of the lead change.
It's good. That was a great play as well from that role. That's able to get that double, which meant that they could just move forward. And yet, exactly what you know, their goal was trying to distract Rising Beyond the Tides long enough to get M.A.D the chance, or to get Rising Beyond the Tides chance to fight back. But M.A.D had the response that they need, and that was a great play overall, but they just need to now piece together a few extra pushes there. Adrian, by the way, dropping as well, and now we're gonna see these zones swapping back and forth. Now, something we do need to keep an eye on. M.A.D has a ton of painting potential, especially with that Snipe Rider. You do have the slot with the trip strikes if you need it for zoning and painting as well. So they got the coverage and the range that they need so far to make this one all count. It just comes down to just surviving and keeping the zones in their favor for as long as they could. Ultra Stamp is not going to land and get any picks, but Rising Beyond the Tides are slowly losing members left and right, but everybody's moving to the right-hand side of the map. That does give an opening for Rising Beyond the Tides to get the zones cap back. M.A.D also getting picked off by Azuka as well from earlier, and we are seeing this fight around the zone that's going back and forth. A big tug of war that Rising Beyond the Tides does finally get at the end, and you're at 45 seconds left. Rising Beyond the Tides has a couple pushes left in the tank.
And Rising Beyond the Tides, they initiated that neutral state with a numbers disadvantage. So that Zuka pick ended up coming in huge there, as it bought just enough time for their team to get back into action, and now they are working through the penalty. They clear the penalty and are once again within striking distance of flipping the lead back in their favor, but the trip tricks are coming in. 2 members down on the side of M.A.D. It is not going to be enough to flip the zone back before the lead changes, and now Rising Beyond the Tide on the cusp of a knockout, and they're gonna get one more flip here, but it's 2 down on their side. They're gonna come up with one more big pick. They have the numbers disadvantage, somehow gonna make the numbers even, and a second stamper is coming in, and it looks like it's absolute pandemonium as the trip strikes now coming out once again, and M.A.D said, you might have taken this lead late, but it doesn't matter. It's gonna come down to who holds it last, and that is certainly gonna be us here. Rising Beyond Tide's gonna have one more look at this, but with another beautiful pick there, and it is not going to be enough. M.A.D survives the late onslaught from Rising Beyond the Tides to secure a crazy game number 1.
I don't even know what to say, Dira. There was a lot that exactly happened. I was fearing that M.A.D did not have enough left at the end. Rising on the Tides would have been knockout, GG's, everything, all the superlatives out of the way. M.A.D were able to wrestle that one home at the very end. Several key moments there. Ultra Stamp pick that I saw got a few. Skirmishes were being won by M.A.D, and with all the pain that they had, that they were up against an Inkstorm. They had a paint centric comp. They could just throw all the pain right in the middle especially when they got past the penalty points that they had to chew through. And all they needed just about 10 points left, or excuse me, 11 points left, I think, in the calculations. And that was a way, if you're M.A.D, you gotta feel great about that. Rising Beyond the Tides, was an unfortunate comeback that did not seem to materialize at the end, but it came down to really just the key Ultra Stamp picks at the very end that pretty much enabled M.A.D to get the picks, to get the momentum that they needed. That was a crazy fight towards the end of the zone tier. There were just so many there were a lot of words that I don't think I can put together just to explain that ending alone.
Yeah, that was bizarre. the way that ultimately ended up playing out, because the thing that stood out to me, especially in the second half of that game, was a lot of the zone control flips was when the team that ultimately secured the flip, they got it with a numbers disadvantage. Like, both times, both teams. You know, M.A.D should not have been able to get that last second zone flip. They were in a 2v3, and they somehow managed to, rip out a special right at the perfect time to be able to put just enough pressure on the opposition, force them to back up a little bit, and that's exactly where they wanted them. They put them on the ropes and delivered a knockout blow, especially with that final hammer that came in, got the pick, evened up the numbers, but hey, their guys are coming back faster than your guys are, so it set them up absolutely perfectly. And that is why, it's so important that even with a slight numbers disadvantage, to hold your positions if you're able to.
And to your point, in any aspect in a 2v3, you should not be able to get to contest that zone as fast as they did. They were up against basically an underrated part while Rising Beyond the Tides is figuring out their counter pick here, UF. I had to make sure I wasn't going crazy. You know, M.A.D ran a double Ultra Stamp setup. They had the Wiper, they had the Vanilla Mini as well. So I was wondering, was it one Ultra Stamp that got it? No, it was 2 separate Ultra Stamp picks that ultimately pretty much did Rising Beyond the Tides in. It was from 2 different players. I had to make sure that I saw that correctly too. And in that 2v3, in that zone split, the pencil was still alive. That was the key thing. And the sloths as well. They had trip strikes and the pencil range that provides enough paint coverage to get the zone split at a crucial moment. And with all the respawns there, both their Wiper and the Mini, we're gonna be able to volley for position and get the picks that they need to take that one home. That was an awesome finish. Now we get to see a ship-shaped cargo tower control counterpick from Rising Beyond the Tides here. That I want to see how Rising Beyond the Tides can take advantage of this one. M.A.D ran a very paint-centric comp. I wouldn't be shocked if they swap it off. I also wouldn't be shocked the same way if they keep it as it stood, because so far M.A.D, I think they know what to do with these 2 Ultra Stamps.
Yes, and you know, I do think that we'll probably see one of those Ultra Stamps, you know, change out here. We talked about it going into this set, that M.A.D does have a very like deep arsenal, and Rising Beyond Tides actually, as I was going through some of their compositions as well, they also run some pretty deep compositions. So there's could be a lot of things being swapped out here. There could be players being swapped out here as well, as both run a 6 deep roster. So I think the combinations, or the potential combinations, really seem endless. We'll probably still see, you know, at least one of those Ultra Stamps stick around. The bubbles on both sides will probably be sticking around as well, as we do see at least a couple of weapons sticking the same here, but a couple of adjustments, that's for sure. So, of course, we only keep one of the bubbles, and we actually do keep the double hammer. So I guess they really liked how things had ended in that last game and said, you know, that was our key to victory there. That's what, you know, helped us win that game. Let's keep both of those specials around.
You know, right as you know, the double Ultra Stamp, we're gonna say goodbye to the E leader there because Dane just got one pick there from M.A.D that pretty much took out the E leader right away. And what I was gonna note there before I saw that pick was, fundamentally, they keep double Ultra Stamps, but they have more GG specials on the board. They decided to bring out the Bleeder Bombs and the Trip Strikes for when they needed it. Adrian was switching over to that Neo Splash to provide extra paint coverage and also Trip Strikes in their favor as well, so it's a little bit more of a supporting type. But so far, it is M.A.D that's just trying to roll with the aggression right away here. Now, the first checkpoint cleared by M.A.D. This is a snowball opportunity if they can make this one happen. Adrian burning both Trip Strikes rapidly quick, and they get the trade onto Dane, but still members disadvantage here, at least in the interim, but M.A.D losing a couple by their own. Just the Wiper and just that Zeko Firefin scope, the only one alive talent there is still trying to keep this one steady, but that tower's gonna be resetting here. Zero has 3 minutes and 41 seconds left, and M.A.D clears the first checkpoint, but didn't quite make it to the second.
Yeah, so things now starting to turn. A little bit of a change in the tide as Rising Beyond the Tides is now in control, but they find themselves 2 down. That's going to be a forced retreat. The third one going down as well, but Puppy going to try to hold their own, able to take one on their way out. So call it a little bit of a delayed wipe there, as now this tower resets once again. M.A.D wins the exchange of opening pushes as they have that first checkpoint, while Rising Beyond the Tides does not.
Yeah, Rising Beyond the Tides, I'm trying to see how they can get something to materialize here. They don't have any specials right now, so they're having to wait. They're having to weather the storm on 2 incoming specials here, which is going to be the Bleeder Bomb from Agent 8 here, and it's going to be Talent as well with the Trip Strikes that are available. They also have to worry about the Ultra Stamps that could be coming from Dane on that Mini as well, so they're having to play a little bit of a retreating game here. Now they got 3 specials. There's a Lone Wave Breaker, the Trip Strike already being used, all of them being used on the tower early, and those were burnt on quick succession here. The bubble comes in a bit late. They're trying to see if they can get any sort of coverage here and any sort of ground they can gain with these specials that they use. It allows Puppy to go to the back here. Agent 8 is being chased all around, but no firm control quite yet until Adrian's the one that's there to ride the tower, and a Beer is able to hold that one back just long enough all the specials being used at the end, DRF, and it amounts to no push quite yet from Rising Beyond the Tides. They have Trip Strikes available once again, but they are gonna have to reset their 3 specials used, no push to materialize out of it.
So we are really stuck in the stalemate. No one's really made a move here in the last minute and some change, it feels like. As both teams, they might have thought that they had a window of opportunity, but it hasn't materialized into anything quite yet. So I really do think that whoever ultimately wins this stalemate is probably going to win this game in the closing minute and a half. But again, we're finding just little trades here and there. Nothing coming from either squad, as now we're just kind of seeing a little bit of a stagger in those specials as well. You know, one special coming out at a time from either side. I'd love to just see one of these teams slow it down just a little bit as we see the cooler go out, but I think the cooler disappeared as quickly as it was thrown out. So once again, we're just a little bit stuck. If Puppey could get this kill though on the S-Blast, I do think that could be a game changer, but no, we lose 2 instead from Rising Beyond the Tides.
Oh no! Yeah, a couple of members being burned from Rising Beyond the Tides there. They just did a slight overcommit. Their Puppey was not, it was just stuck in an endless duel there with Agent 8. It does buy Rising Beyond the Tides a chance to get the tower there, but now they gotta get everything resetted here as well. So now we go down to 35 seconds left on the clock. Again, the thing that people will need to pay attention to, both teams have the ability for GG specials, and it's advantage M.A.D, and they got 2 to work. They have 2 incoming specials that they could work off of. They got the focus is Agent 8 and Talent. They may not even need it though, because a couple members have all gone down right out of the gate, made that a delayed 3, and the staggers are not going to favor Rise Beyond the Tides here. M.A.D is running with it, with the blue bomb being used to put the exclamation mark on this game, as Rise Beyond the Tides can't quite make it back to the tower just in time, and they may not even have a chance, because the strikes are absolutely there to prevent Rise Beyond the Tides from getting to the tower back. M.A.D in a bit of a slugfest, so to speak, so pretty much holds on. They win round 2. 2-0 is the final score, and Rise Beyond the Tides will have to do it in lower brackets this time, but this has been an excellent showing so far from M.A.D.
Yeah, and one thing that really stood out to me in that game as well, especially in the closing minute and few seconds, was that I said that whoever won the stalemate was ultimately going to win the game. And the thing that I sort of noticed there was that Rising Beyond the Tides, yes, they gained control of the tower, but it never felt like we broke out of that stalemate. Things were still moving a little bit slow, just a little bit clunky. You know, the picks weren't quite there, the specials weren't quite there. So it felt like that, yes, they had control of the tower, but I think M.A.D made a very calculated decision to back up and reposition themselves. So I feel like that the stalemate just kind of moved from mid to checkpoint 1. Like, things never really changed. And M.A.D, when they finally got the shutdown on the roller, that was the pivotal moment. You know, that plus the I believe it was the charger pick as well. I think that's really what enabled the victory, and that's what broke the stalemate ultimately. So fantastic adjustment there by M.A.D to say we don't necessarily need to keep this stalemate going on in mid. It's better to find a more advantageous position, you know, let up a little bit, because, you know, it was an investment really, you know, give them just an inch, but, you know, we're going to be able to punish them for it.
And what's one of the things that I noticed with the way that game was also progressing too, and it was exactly the way it was, it kind of that it came down to a pivotal moment where I think you saw it was a fight around Puppey and Agent, and I think this is Rising on the Tides recognizing we need to get a push to materialize. They basically need to rely on the specials to work out. The trip strikes per zoning, you need to get provided the extra paint. Cooler needs to be there for the aggression, and then they have to make sure that Puppey can do what they needed to do on that roller just to basically help protect the team and basically get the picks that they need, because there were several points earlier they had the 1-for-1 trade, and then they had advantage M.A.D because I saw earlier they had the mini and the wiper both eliminated. So that was huge. but then they couldn't win some of the fights that they really needed to at the end, and then it just starts to go way out of control. Exactly, you know, there with the pick onto probably on that roller pretty much broke open the floodgates basically for M.A.D to just basically get control the rest of the way. And honestly, for M.A.D, they're here, DRF, a team that I don't think I don't see a low ink result on their board. They look really good so far. They're gonna be up against a team on the upper side of the bracket here, which I want to see how the bracket's all shaping up. But the other team on the other side, the big controversial moment for chat is if broccoli really belongs on pizza, but that is the team name that they're going to be up against in semifinals. We are on a holding pattern here, DRF, to see who wins between Watch My Belly and the Koalition, but I know DRF. I know DRF being the CCA guy you are. I think Watch My Belly being up 1-0, we could be seeing them again if they're able to close this one out.
I wouldn't complain. That's all I am saying. You know, but I also do like getting to see, you know, a lot of different folks. You know, everybody get a little bit of time on stream. So I wouldn't hate it either way. You know, my heart says, you know, Watch My Belly, be fantastic to see them again. But my TO and production brain is like Koalition. You know, if you pull this one out like this. You know, we'll get more different people on stream, and you know, maybe this like intensifies some of the storylines and stuff as well. So I think it's a win-win either way. It just kind of depends what sort of side of your brain is dominating in the moment.
That's certainly very true here, but that is the preview for the upper brackets. Broccoli on pizza versus M.A.D, and we are waiting on the result for Watch My Belly versus Koalition. Lower brackets this time now. I rest in the Milky Way, by the way, the team that one of the teams I wanted to see in the loser bracket. Fortunately, getting the early elimination to a team called Squid Busters there as well. But familiar names if you guys have been paying attention to low ink, or especially any of the other low-level tournaments, excuse me, out there. Night Logic and Jam making their way up here. We just saw Octaves earlier. They got the 2 over Neowave. So this is kind of what I call the gauntlet from lower brackets. Who can keep this one going, and see how who will be the team out of lower brackets to make it to the grand final side or the final side of the fence. But DRF, I think though, most people want to see a variety of different teams make it through, but also at the same time, I think the teams that have been here before, they have something to prove, especially with trying to graduate out of low ink and see where they can stand against some of the other guys at higher skill levels as well.
Don't do it. Don't do it. It's not worth it. Stay in low ink forever. There's nothing beyond low ink. No. In all seriousness, though. You know, there's always so many different tournaments and stuff going on as well, and just the natural progression. You know, being able to win low ink, get banned, and then kind of enter the Wild West that is mid-level, or however you want to categorize. You know, what is beyond the pearly gates. You know, there's certainly a lot of opportunity. You know, especially with just a variety of different tournaments, as you know, things like SAC come back around, Ludi, etc.
Yep.
You know, the goal is always to get better, and you continue to improve, because you know that's why also you playing this game competitively, if not to, you know, try your best and be able to, you know, make progress. So as we kind of get a look here, we're doing the loop through the other brackets.
Yeah, we are going to be previewing the other side here from the other brackets as well. I am going to be breaking through. I'm going to be pulling the curtain here, because the best thing about any tournaments in Sendu, which low ink is in, is you get to see people provide their own perspectives as well. I get to call. I had to look up. I had to do the classic Kevin Harlan, I'm calling both games moment here. You might know that reference for those who are sports brain like I am. And right now I am seeing that series that set be a bit extended. So we got a little bit of extra time here, DRF, to keep on going here, out of beta brackets, to my knowledge. So yeah, we are cycling through the other brackets. So again, a lot of teams that I think are alpha bracket regulars here are making in beta bracket has been I know for people who, especially any tournaments that have alpha beta, such as not just low ink but also super jump. If you participate in those majors, beta bracket is always that bracket where it's like, well, it's just the one step below alpha. We were so close. So, but I always love to see teams just still be able to complete through the beta bracket this side in. I think for a lot of these teams that either a little disappointed that didn't make alpha, or oh, we made it one step further. We're out of gamma. Let's see how we can do beta. I want to see how all the teams kind of shape up, not just in alpha bracket, which is of course our feature day, but how they play in the other brackets that we see here, especially beta and gamma, as well as we see the beta brackets results here, DRF.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, no worries.
I know. Yeah, like I'm sorry. I was drinking some orange juice there. Had to kind of clear my throat.
That's my drink, by the way.
Hey, there we go. Yeah, I mean, hey, orange is such a fantastic, like, well, okay, I mean, it's like breakfast time for me, but, you know, I don't know, it's definitely a good morning drink, a little sugary, a little pulpy, you know, to make sure you get some of that vitamin C as well. You know, stay healthy, everybody. Mask up if you need to. Don't go spreading germs, because please, dear God, like, don't go spreading germs. If you're sick, stay home. All right, I'm gonna turn this into a big PSA, because holy crap, yesterday I was at a boba shop working, and like this group comes up next to me and they're all like, you know, coughing and sniffling and stuff, and I'm like, oh dear God, I gotta get out of here.
Yeah, this is the regular reminder, especially for those who attended the lands yesterday, by the way, as well. Remember to mask up and make sure to take care of yourselves.
Yes, don't, please do not make your illnesses other people's problems. That seems like this season of flu is definitely a little rough. So do what you can to stay healthy and keep others around you healthy.
I feel like this is the eternal. You know what's funny is I hear this PSA, and I know there were several friends that went to some big conventions in the past handful of weeks, and I'm like, nah. At this point, I'm at the point where I'm like, I don't trust myself nor the attendees, so it's always just mask up or get hand sanitizer whenever I can with me, and that whole shtick still follows through wherever I go, especially especially with the crazy strains that are being out here. Apparently, the flu outbreak is no joke. Thankfully, I've dodged it, which means I'm gonna completely jinx myself in the next week or so. But hey, just stay healthy. No, don't worry. I knew exactly where I was going at the minute I said it out loud, dear. It's my own fault this time if it happens.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, it's definitely been a little bit of a rougher flu season. Everybody that I know, like at work and friends, just everyone's like, yeah, I'm sick and whatever. And I'm like, okay, this is when I'm glad that I work from home, because
right?
I don't have a reason to go outside. You know, yes, to go touch grass for sure, but you know, I don't have to regularly interact face to face with people. So for that, I am grateful for remote work.
You know, for those who remote work, enjoy it, because it is always the one feeling with myself, because I'm also the same. It's always the weird feeling of, oh, I just rolled out of bed, let me get the coffee. I'm like, oh, right, I can just get the laptop open right away. I don't have to actually drive my car and drive. For the record, where I'm at, it is snowing outside. It is snowing outside, by the way.
I was gonna say, yeah, I know that you're in the snow, so...
yeah, no, snow country doesn't stop for anybody, by the way. It will mess up your cars. So it's just like, oh good, I don't have to drive anywhere. I can actually stay put for once.
Fair. Now, actually, a genuine question. As someone who does not exist in the snow and was not built for the snow,
yes.
How long does it take for you to warm up your car?
Okay, so the car warming up is primarily to get rid of the ice that's pretty much building up around the car. Less about the snow. So we have things that we can do to basically brush off the snow here, but for me, sure, warming up the car is primarily to just get rid of the ice that's in the windshield or anywhere else, to make sure that the ice can slowly melt, and also keep the car warm in case I need to commute for work. If the weather isn't bad, if the weather is bad, there isn't too much ice buildup. It's probably there will be the one rare time like okay, I could probably be okay with it. But yeah, it takes for me depending on the weather. I think 10 minutes. For the I have to use Fahrenheit here, of course. Like around when it's around 10 or 20-ish or above, it's like 10 minutes. Really cold weather, it's got to be 20, just to ensure that one the car is nice and comfortable, and also you can get rid of all the ice that's building up the windshields. So there you go, everybody. 10 or 20 minutes has been the amount of time I've had to work the car.
That is absolutely crazy. For me, I'm like 3 minutes in the winter. Maybe 4.
Right?
It's like, yeah, no, my car is warm in like 3 minutes. So it's I think here, let me give you a weather report today. It is a nice 71 where I'm at currently, and the high today will be 77. So just a beautiful winter Southern California day.
And for me, the deep freeze is arriving for us on Friday and Saturday. It's -5 for the high. We're gonna be
wait.
Yeah, no. We have a game coming up here, but before we do, yes, the high for the upcoming weekend for us is a good old -3 on Friday and a good old -5 on Saturday. This is the stuff that we have to deal with in the past couple years. We've had a lot of like, what is it, polar vortexes they call it, hitting us. Good luck to the people who have to drive in the cold weather and have to warm up their cars. You better hope that your battery is still surviving by then. I think Europe is trying to
I'm processing.
Yeah.
I think the coldest weather that I've ever been in was probably in like the high teens. And that was like very short temporary period of time. It was like an hour maybe. But yeah, that's cold.
and I know and I know there will be a few people in chat that will be asking. So -5 Fahrenheit? What is that in Celsius? -20.5. By the way, for those who have to work with Celsius. Yeah,
sounds illegal.
We're gonna be freezing up here this weekend, but we're gonna stay toasty while we're at it. I'll let you mull on that for a bit here, Giraffe, because guess what? We got 2 teams that are here. The antithesis to set number 1 is no creith, no bow. There were bows that were played in set 1, so maybe this team doesn't have a bow anymore, or it's probably creith that usually plays well, but that's not entirely the point. But that's the team that we have in semifinals. Koalition, the TO and production brain wins here. DRF has made it through in winners bracket round 2. That's a group that has SKD, Dynaman, Megu, Poland, and EMI as well. Quickly grabbing, overtly speaking, the record that they had. Obviously, they won their respective sets here to get all the way to semifinals. I think these teams are both hailing out of Group B out of day 1. So this is Koalition with that 5-1 record. No creith, no bow is the exact same 5-1 record as well. So these teams had a strong day 1, and they are so far having a strong day 2. And I got good news for you, DRF. We go to best of 5 counter picks now, so the sets get so now a lot more dynamics are in play.
Yeah, so we extend the sets a little bit more time to feel out your opponent, make the adjustments you need to. So I'm very excited. I always love when we reach the stage of a tournament when the sets do get a little bit longer. You can build up a little bit more excitement. And you can allow for losers bracket to catch up. Taking a look at some of the team's composition options. Nothing too crazy on the side of no creith, no bow. Seeing maybe the possibility of a dread ringer coming out, an ink brush, which is pretty neat. So we'll be interested to see, what we see out of the opening gates here from no creith, no bow. On the side of the Koalition, a couple more interesting options. An array of chargers, an undercover Brella possibly. Assuming that is, because that's the only thing on one of their players' profiles. So I'm genuinely curious to see if that's true, as well as a vanilla blaster. So let's go ahead and just solve the mystery here, Keone, of what these teams are going to be running for us and jump on into game number 1.
Yeah, game number 1 going to be coming up here. Koalition on Alpha side. No creith, no bow is Bravo for us today here. As we do take a look at the weapons, there are no undercover umbrellas. I know your teammate Cracker will only sorely be disappointed here, DRF, with that. But hey, we got weapons here. Dynamite, by the way, on Dynamo. That is, I guess that's
literally none of these weapons were on Sendu.
They have fooled you today because Dreadbringers has made a showing. Frozen Pro as well. I think we got a wide assortment of weapons here. No mirrors to really speak of as well. So a lot of fun dynamics, I will say, DRF are in play as both the teams are jostling for the first zone, rather than the zone.
All right, yes, it is a fight for early control, as it looks like that Stamper is going to get shut down there, trying to make it a bit of an aggressive play on the back line. Grab. So now no creith, no bow, able to find a 3-down situation here, able to force a bit of a stagger now as well. So they're going to be set up in a potential lockout position here. Perfect control of the stack, pushing forward just a little bit, and now the specials coming in. A huge play there with the missiles plus the zip caster. Now able to get the Koalition back in and secure control of the zone before things could just get a little too out of hand.
Yeah. Now a nice little cap of that zone. Now they can see if they can push a little bit further, and they're able to. They're gonna be able to, even though it's a 2v1. They're up against a crab tank that is gonna at least be the zone that sticks in their favor. Maybe in the short term, they did lose a handful of members. Right, their opponent is gonna be the one that has to get the jumps in for the Koalition. So looking to see what No Creith Global can do. And these fights are all happening really fast. They're all happening very fast, at least to the Koalition getting the delayed wipe as well. Poland, by the way, using the 10 missiles to be able to scout out the rest and be able to disperse the other team members from No Creith, No Bow. DRF, the Koalition is basically a small bump in the road. They're able to get the zones back. They're going to be out of the penalty points here soon, and they're able to keep the advantage going. Did they just eliminate two members, make that 3 members from No Creith, No Bow down, and this is looking really soft for the Koalition, at least for this counter push, DRF.
A fantastic position to be in, lockout ready, as they do get one of their players up top. It's the 52 gal that's just causing a lot of havoc there, but as soon as they go down, now the numbers are even, the rest of the team's back up. So this next fight's going to be taking place right around the zone, not able to cap the zone just yet. So this timer or the scoreboard keeps ticking here. Finally able to find one more, but now it's a 2v2. Are they gonna have the angle here to try to neutralize the zone? And it's not quite enough, as the Koalition is gonna be able to hold on here in game number 1.
That Frozen Pro can be an absolute menace if they're able to make some of their advantages count. And I think I saw it from Poland as well, just able to get so much advantages there with not just their main weapons, but also using their special as well to just keep the Koalition's aggression going. And that has just been solid play all around from the group. Yes, a bit of a slow start for the Koalition, but they were able to get that one through to the very end for that team. And on top of their weapons, they love to play fast, even in slight disadvantage situations. And they got No Creith, No Bow in massive disadvantages with the skirmishes they had across the board. So the Koalition had great responses for everything. Sorry, that took me a second to get together my thoughts here, DRF, because No Creith, No Bow already locks in their counter pick, and it is Scorch Gorge Rainmaker coming to this one. So something tells me, DRF, they may have a plan with this particular map in terms of how fast they counterpicked it, or it's just a map that just works out well to their strengths.
Well, we were talking about, the TO and production brain versus, the heart.
Yep.
And, hey, all I'm saying is that No Creith, No Bow, when winning the, my TO heart for putting in that counter pick in record speed. See, that's how you do it. You have your counter picks ready, and you just know what you want. I think this late into a tournament, we're like right in that sweet spot where, it's not necessarily grand final, so you don't start overthinking things yet. I think, that tends to happen: winners finals, losers finals, grand finals. We're right before then when your counter picks, you know has been working for you all tournament long. You know, at this point you've played, this is your 9th round of competition. You've played almost every map mode, maybe a couple of times even. So you should have a pretty darn good idea of what works well, and it seems like they know Rainmaker Scorch Gorge is the map mode for them.
I feel like, and this is one I'm gonna be intrigued to see what No Creith wants to do with this particular map mode combo. I know it makes you and every TO happy to see this get picked right, to have their counter picks ready to go and prepared. So what only gathers my mind here is what will be the game plan that they got, because this is what they had right in store for them. They have something that this is probably a map that is that suits their strength, so they're just really good at being able to play this one. But at the same time, this could also be a map where Koalition knows how to strike. I'm gonna need to pause that thought here though about that one. There are massive weapon changes across the board. In fact, not many that seems very familiar. Sploosh sighting from Koala. Poland goes off of the Frozen Pro, over to the sloshing machine, the two main weapons of choice. Kenji is switching to, going to the Ink Burst, and a custom E-Leader sighting as well, also the T-Tech. So major weapon changes across the board here, DRF, and I think both teams may have some ideas on how to work all these out.
It's always a pleasant surprise to see the Sploosh come out on a Rainmaker match. So immediately my eyes are just glancing towards what the Sploosh can do here, as early on this initial skirmish just gonna find a couple of picks around the center of the map here, but no one really making that first move quite yet. They want to make sure that they've got the numbers on their side before making any sort of rash decisions or even thinking about picking up that Rainmaker, because I don't even think anyone's really trying to get up onto that center platform for positioning. Everyone's just fighting around the Rainmaker right now.
I think the idea is, can we get the advantage that we can work off of with the members that we have picked off? I think this is just more caution rather than anything else. And I don't necessarily blame either team, especially with how these weapons tend to play. You got a little bit more skirmishing with the Sploosh. You have the Ink Brush and Splatoon that can wreak havoc here. So I think they're just waiting for the prime opportunity to strike. It has been a 2-down situation so far earlier. Dynaman is just going to pick up that Rainmaker, immediately drops, and it only leads to one measly point, and then we're back to the 2-for-2 trade. So all that being said and done, DRF, we only stand at one measly point that has been scored, and both teams are still skirmishing and balling for trades.
For the first possession of the Rainmaker, and it lasted for less than a second. And we're still not picking up the Rainmaker. This Rainmaker is gonna reset! Rainmaker has been possessed for 1 second out of the first 2 minutes of this game. We don't need the objective, folks. The Rainmaker is a giant exploding ink ball. Somebody can definitely pick this up and make something happen with it.
I need every team. We need every TO and every player in competitive as lead quickly change his hands. Yes! I was gonna say, what I was immediately gonna say there is we need a TO and players, everybody in chat to ask, when was the last time we saw a 1-point score halfway through score towards Rainmaker? We don't need to worry about that anymore. Advantage, no creith, no bow. E-Leader gets a big onto Poland. That is gonna be nice, but they left Koala uncontested. Koala jumps onto a few members. It's a 2-for-2 trade, but it still leads to the Rainmaker being pushed up here, and Paper and Kenji drops it to the 14 points remaining. And this game, DRF, with what started off so slow in the first half of the game, the next 30 seconds is absolute advantage for no creith, no bow. You're down to 14 points remaining, almost effectively a game-winning push there if they are able to get the defenses going. And no creith, no bow made the most out of every opportunity, DRF.
Yeah, I mean, they were the first team to possess the Rainmaker for more than a second. And I just feel like that's what the win condition is here. It was, be able to, both teams, I think generally were making the right play. They wanted to make sure they can secure the numbers advantage before even attempting a push. And I think that's actually the right play. It just felt like things were really stalling out there. But yeah, no, all that said, Keon, it finally the big explosion here, and it seems like the Koalition is gonna get an opportunity to respond as they find a 3-down situation themselves, but a hero fall off from the, I believe that was out of the shot player, I think, or it might have been the dualies, able to prevent the checkpoint from falling. Finally going to be able to secure it there, but they don't have the numbers, as Paper is going to be able to find a nice double there, but it's still 3 down on the side of no creith, no bow, and they're going to pick up this raid. They let it be.
Yeah, they let it reset. We'll have to let you get your breath there, DRF. There's a lot of crazy things that are following suit here. Now, here's the thing. I don't think that's actually not a bad reset.
It's not a bad reset. I agree. I just wish that both of these teams, I feel like they're letting up their position just a little bit too soon. That's why I'm very visibly frustrated, because I feel like both teams had opportunities to make some bigger plays here. So, but now the Koalition not in a bad spot here. They have an uphill battle, but they have the 1 down. Now they just need to try to do everything they can to keep their numbers up and protect this Rainmaker at all costs. Although now they're being pushed hard by the Killer Whales. Luckily the Killer Whale was not targeted out for them. Somehow Koala dodges a couple of other players there before finally going down. Oh, Kyo, that was one of the single most hectic Rainmaker games that I have had the privilege to watch. Again, it wasn't that things just were going bad or anything like that. I just feel like that. I don't know. It just seemed like the pacing was all over the place, and it created for an entertaining game for sure. This game felt like it actually went on longer than 5 minutes, and I think just because of how long it took for that initial Rainmaker possession. So it definitely is a very unconventional Rainmaker game, but somehow no creith, no bow was the ones to break through and secure the win.
That might be one of the Rainmaker games of all time for some spectators watching this DRF. But the thing is, these aren't, and the thing is too, I will give credit to both here. Exactly to what we both talked about. I think it was purely numbers advantage game the entire way too. But the problem was both teams were also so equally matched in trades that they were having. You could get a situation where both teams were either 1 down, both teams were 1 down, both teams are 2 down, or you get a 1 down on one side, 2 down the other side, but they don't feel like it's enough members down. So they're still looking for those opportunities to strike once again, and we only saw what halfway through the game it was down to the 1 point remaining, and then no creith, no bow. When they found that opening, they took it all the way to that advantage so far. And there are too several opportunities where you feel like the pacing could have made the difference, or some of the decisions or aggression could have made the difference. But both teams, I imagine, opted to play that particular map mode safely and more conservatively, if you will, and that's just how we led to that very interesting Rainmaker game. And I'm sure both teams want to repeat the exact same process here, DRF, because the counterpick from Koalition, hey, we're going back to Rainmaker. This time we're going to get a slightly more condensed map in Humpback Pump Track Rainmaker, so the exact strategy applies. I wouldn't be shocked that the weapons don't quite change here. Maybe a few tweaks to make it work for this condensed map, but both teams but for the Koalition, I guess they're like, wait, let's go back to Rainmaker, I suppose.
Now, I actually don't hate this counter pick. For folks that might be seeing this, like, why on earth would you want to pick Rainmaker again? Well, first of all, I actually do think that Rainmaker Scorch Gorge just generally, I'm not a fan of the map mode. Sure. So it's just that Rainmaker Scorch, it's either very stally or it is just a pure avalanche. And so yes, while I am critiquing the pacing of that game, because let's be honest, it was the 2 furthest extremes that you could get. We got a 2.5 minute stalemate and then 1 avalanche that won the game. Like, that was it. With Rainmaker Humpback Pump Track, there is a more definitive pace to this map mode. you're not gonna see what we just saw in Rainmaker Scorch Gorge. So I actually do think this is a reasonable counter pick because this is less about the mode and more about the map. And with this map, it's probably, you know, again, they do have a relatively diverse arsenal of weapons, so it is going to depend a little bit of what these teams ultimately bring out as we take a look here. You know, so like the Dreadringer brush combo, I actually really like that out of No Creeth, No Bow. For Koalition, with the Dreadringer and the Sloshing Machine and the Dynamo, a fantastic combination. So, you know, I really would knock the idea of picking Rainmaker again, because the focus here is going to be that they pivoted to Humpback Pump Track.
And Humpback Pump Track plays very differently than Scorch Gorge to even begin with, so it's exactly to your point, it's not really about the mode, it's the map just plays fundamentally differently here, so I wouldn't be shocked if things start to go out of 100. We are still seeing these almost what felt very similar there, a 2-for-2 trade. Mega's just decided to say, let's just pick up this Rainmaker and just see if we can keep it out for them for as long as we can. Kenji has other ideas, they get the pick onto them. It's now a 3 members down to 2 members down situation going across the board, and it's Kenji that picks up the Rainmaker. They're just gonna run for the hills. A nice little movement, excuse me, but it will be the Rainmaker being dropped, and it is just the 1-for-1 trade now going on that side of the fence. Now we have scores across the board. No checkpoint yet here, DRF, if anything, but 4 minutes left in the game, and so far both teams still as equally matched as ever.
Yeah, so again, we at the very least, you know, we get some Rainmaker possessions early. Much different from that last game, as Paper now gonna pop the Reslider, see if they can force this checkpoint, but just a little bit too much blue ink right around the pedestal for them to secure the checkpoint. So they're gonna go ahead and try and make another play for it, as Kenji now is gonna be the one trying to make the move. They're gonna go down. Paper picks it up, finally will dunk it down. So it is the checkpoint for No Creeth, No Bow first. But the Koalition doing a great job of holding their elbow right now, making sure that there is no further advancement from No Creeth, No Bow, but 2 members go down. So that could be a problem, but no, we quickly flip it, and now it's 3 down on the side of No Creeth, No Bow. The Koalition now has an opportunity to pick up this Rainmaker.
The only difference is literally just 1 extra point past the checkpoint. It came down to a nice critical play to make that one all count, to at least get the stop. There is the reach side I think I saw that got a couple members in, and now there's a prime opportunity for No Creeth, No Bow to strike. What I was gonna say there is that the Dynamo got the assist on 1, but staying alive and getting the pick onto the Rainmaker helped open the doors a bit for Koalition's defense to break through, but they just aren't able to get everything to materialize quite yet. But now, this is not remotely safe if you guys are familiar with this map, because it's so condensed and all the paths to checkpoint are so small. Things can pretty much open up in a hurry here for either team, and the Koalition still has a chance to make this one count, as they do get the 2-for-2 trade. Both DCAF and the Sammers went down on both ends, so there is still a chance for No Creeth, No Bow to still get a lot of points on board, but they are getting pushed back a bit by the Koalition. There is no Blue Bomb that's going to be used right away here. In fact, 2 members going down. No Creeth, No Bow has just got to keep this on defensively until they get all their members back. DRF, 35 seconds left in this Rainmaker. It's gonna get dropped, and both teams are still just trading. This might be the first time in a while I'm seeing a 59 points remain be the winning score so far.
Yeah, you know, that's probably the part that we're gonna carry over from this previous game. Is I don't anticipate it being super high scoring until, you know, maybe one team has a big breakthrough. But it's not gonna be as stally per se. Now, the one thing that I think that actually No Creeth, No Bow needs is they need to find a way to get the Sloshing Machine and the Dynamo down at the same time, because both do an excellent job of holding that elbow, holding that snipe area on the right side, and that's what's been difficult for them to break through, is that as long as one of the Sloshing Machine and Dynamo are alive, it becomes so difficult to break through, as now the Koalition is going to get an opportunity at the checkpoint here. A little bit of a struggle around the pedestal, and Koala's finally going to be able to dunk this one. And it's not going to take much to get the lead. They need to secure this pop, but they need to secure the elbow more importantly, as it looks like No Creeth, No Bow surrounding the elbow like a bunch of piranhas here. And now, finally, Dynamo's going to be able to pick that one up and secure the lead. So Koalition has the lead with 40 seconds to play, Keon, and it seems like No Creeth, No Bow is going to be able to reset this one at the very least, but are they going to be able to secure the lead and respond late?
That's gonna be the big question right now. There's no specials really on either team, so to speak. So that's our situation coming in. There is gonna be that cooler that is available. 2 members have dropped. Now Paper's gonna, Paper going for the left side might have been a bit bold. They're gonna go back to the conventional side of the fence. Megu is right there lurking large. They're losing members left and right so far. 10 seconds left to go on the clock here, as the Rainmaker is still in Paper's possession. They have to just stay alive for as long as they can. They gotta get everybody back up. Pencil's there. Blue Bomb's gonna disperse Kenji a bit, but now Kenji has to be the one that provides the opening. Paper's gonna swim to the left-hand side. Nobody's gonna be all over it. Everybody's slightly out of position. Mega's trying to run in with the Zipcaster. They don't even get the pick from the Zipcaster. Paper's move to the left when Koalition focuses right is the game-winning push that they needed. And no creith, no bow goes up 2-1, and they win the Koalition's counter pick here. One more, and they advance to winners finals.
That was such a fantastic play call by No Creith, No Bow. You saw it multiple times that they were flirting with the idea of swinging it left, but as long as the Koalition still had their checkpoint up, they weren't going to commit to the left-hand side. But in that late game situation, where I had exactly called it out earlier, that the hard part of navigating around that elbow is they needed to get rid of both the sloshing machine and the dynamo. And throughout the entire game, I was keeping track of that. They never had both the machine and the dynamo down at the same time. And especially in that late game situation, instead of forcing it, because you know the machine and the dynamo both want to play that elbow area because they can put up an iron defense, why not take that final opportunity when the checkpoint no longer matters? You swing it left. I thought that was a perfect play call, Keon.
I think anybody who knows who watches this will be focusing. In most cases, they're just gonna try to push right. Here's the thing too: the win condition for that one also showed the points remaining, as we did see the counterpoint being Mako TC here. It's only 36 points remaining. That's really not that much of a distance if you're able to go to that left hand side of the map. And No Creith, No Bow, I think, was biding their time and try to put a lot of focus onto that right hand side of the map, where you'd think conventionally you would think that that's where the team will try to push for the game-winning push. But it was all a ruse, basically, because it catches Megu off guard. Megu had the right idea with the Zipcaster, but at that point it was almost too little too late. The Zipcaster was just a few seconds behind. Paper found a perfect trail to get the lead swap when they needed to. Honestly, I think that's more of a fantastic play call and a fantastic call made by No Creith, No Bow to get to the left-hand side. I think I'm in full agreement with you for this one. So Koalition just being caught a few steps behind. Now they have to work with their bait, effectively their last counter pick for this set. They go to Mako TC for this one. Now, you and I are both suckers for Game 5. I think the Koalition will have to make some gameplay changes, if anything, to make this Mako TC counter pick work. I wouldn't be shocked though if there are swaps, but I want to see what Koalition has in store for this particular counter pick.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of adjustments in these first 3 games, and I think that we'll continue to see a number of different, weapons and stuff come out here. Decav, I think, is definitely something to look out for here, especially with tower control, bubble, fantastic combination that I think we will, want to see a little bit more of going into this game. The Dread Ringers, I actually feel like, have been working for both teams this set. I think that with Mako Mart, it's still, very slosher friendly. And there's a lot of different aisles to quite literally in the supermarket. You could go down the aisles with all of the reef sliders. I feel like the reef sliders themselves haven't been super online for these teams, but I think the Dreadringer itself can definitely be a big asset for both of these teams. So I'm really intrigued to see, what stays, what goes, what hill does the Koalition stake their claim on? Where are they gonna, put together their last stand?
I think this is going to be the counter pick that Koalition needs to win here, if to stay alive pretty much in the winner side of the fence, and to avoid having to go through the lower bracket gauntlets, so to speak. Here, No Creith, No Bow wants to slam that opportunity shut and move on to winners finals. Which, by the way, DRF, we will be covering winners finals on our side, so we got another set ahead of us. the winner of this one plays M.A.D on the other side of the bracket, which we saw earlier. So both teams will have their work cut out for them once they're through this set. The ultimate question is who's going to ultimately come out on top with from No Creith No Bow versus the Koalition. I'm going to be in full agreement with you. I think ultimately what's going to come down to really it was the gameplay here. You saw from No Creith No Bow as well is they have stuck primarily with a few weapons that have kind of been core to their composition. Koalition, you have Dynamo and Megu on that standpoint that has been the constant so far. Some changes you see from Poland and Koala. So I want to see what Poland Koala, if they make any changes, what they want to do. The weapon that Poland won with was that Frozen Pro. I wouldn't be shocked if they bring it back up, and that's what they do here.
Fantastic call.
Yep, and Koala gets the blaster, gets that custom blaster next. So now No Creith No Bow. By the way, they got effectively the T-Tech. That's the kit that we have here. And Zora's on that dualies. Those are the weapon swaps. And yes, the weapon that Koalition won in game 1 didn't involve Poland in that Frozen Pro.
I am a little bit surprised to see the Dynamo sticking around. You know, because I believe that Dynaman does have a couple of chargers up their sleeve as well. You know, and this is still a decent map mode for the Dynamo, but knowing that the other team was probably going to be bringing out the pencil as well, I was almost expecting a bit of a match there too. But nonetheless, you know, very intriguing comps from both of these teams. Both teams are very quick to get their foot on the gas as the Koalition has that checkpoint already taken down and are progressing to checkpoint number 2, and we're less than a minute in.
Now the big thing here is this second checkpoint's always the toughest one to break through because that defensive response goes right into it, and I think Koalition are wisely having to play a bit patiently here, wait for the opportunity to strike. They did lose their blaster from earlier, so that's gonna. There's a lot of things to keep in mind here. Poland, by the way, the weapon, again, the person I have my eyes on gets a pick onto paper. Not able to get the pick on the Kenji. Kenji just ran up on them and gets that one. But at what cost? 3 of their team members. Koalition is able to keep this push alive here. Dynaman immediately using that Dynamo, so just trying to jump and see if they can get a few extra picks themselves. There is the push, by the way. Koala goes deep into the base, of No Creith No Bow, and it allows them to get a few picks on the board. All of the control, all the specials being used, they break it down to the 42 points remaining, and they're still winning some of their fights here. DRF, they're gonna keep this pressure going. DRF.
They certainly will, as they slowly inch the tower forward. Koala does have the triple splashdown ready. They're gonna pop it. Oh, I felt like that might have been a little early, but they managed to find one and not gonna be able to get the second there. But nonetheless, it does slow down No Creith No Bow. So this tower resets, but Koalition maintaining control of mid. Booyah Bomb out, gonna try to clear out the area right underneath the ledge, see if that gives anybody an opportunity to move up. No, with the 2 down, they're gonna be forced to reset. So, you know, things having to everyone kind of hitting the hard reset button now, as No Creith No Bow does get their first possession of the tower. We're halfway through this game, Kyon, and this being the first possession, it seems like they're gonna have to really get close to matching the push that we saw at an opening from the Koalition, and they might just do that.
He might just do that. Kenji's been enabling a lot with some of the fights that they're winning from the. They rushed there, but the wipeout is set. The wipeout is set, and that was a great hold there from the Koalition, and Koalition's able to take that tower and reset it back to where it needs to go. And that was, but at the very least for No Creith No Bow, it's good down the line if they're able to get the setup, they're able to get themselves set up for another push. And so far, with both teams down at checkpoint, nobody getting to the second checkpoint quite yet. Anything can still happen with the way this match is progressing here. I'm thinking specials-wise, it is a cooler that is available. The Tena missiles are being used, so they will be able to seek out a few members, I believe, from the right-hand side of this particular map. And so far, No Creith No Bow, they're losing a couple members quickly, and this is going to be the Koalition. They're going to be trying to move they're going to try to move ahead, on top of it, and they are slowly inching this tower through, and they might be trying to look for that second checkpoint here, so the triple splashdown is basically used for protection. DRF, we're about 1 minute and 10 left into this game, and the Koalition is still is putting that tower in a position where they can get that second checkpoint if they're able to do so.
Yeah, so they more or less matched where they were, maybe just a couple of points shy there. Towers starting to already reel, but more importantly, Koala is behind enemy lines, and that's the key thing that they need to deal with right now. So it looks like they're going to have to devote some resources to turning around and trying to get Koala finally able to do so, able to pick off a second. So they're going to take a 2-for-1. No creep, no bow with a numbers advantage in the closing 30 seconds. This seems like the prime opportunity, Kyon, for them to be able to force the comeback, but they need to go fast because the last thing you want is any of these GG specials to get ready. But lucky for them, there might just have to deal with the one Frozen Pro if they could get it up in time. But there's no other special line.
Yeah, there's no specials online. That was all they needed. They got the lead off of it too. That was what it was. That's what I noticed right away. The trip strikes were also used to effectively turn that into the biggest GG strikes that they needed. No creith, no bow. 3-1. The Koalition at the very final seconds of that there, DRF. I was worried if the Koalition's defense crumbles at a prime moment, and it sure as heck did. No creith, no bow, from the slow start that they had, wins the next 3. That was a great showing, and the Koalition, they still got one more opportunity. They just have to do it in lower brackets this time.
Yeah, and, you know, it wouldn't be a super long losers bracket run. So, you know, that's what, you know, winning these matches in winners bracket is all about, is that, you know, it gives every match that you win in winners bracket gives you just a little bit more insurance. It's you know, 1-2 less matches even that you have to go through in the losers side of things. So at the very least, Koalition, if they want to, you know, try to force this rematch, they only have to win 3 sets down on the loser side. But you know what? Hey, it could certainly happen. But Kyon, it is winners finals that is now on deck. We are ready to see who is going to be the first team to punch their ticket to grand finals.
You know you love it, DRF. I hope you like storytelling with this one. Let's see how we got here, everybody. M.A.D, the team that doesn't have to my knowledge, doesn't have results in low ink listed in their Sendu side, has participated in several other tournaments and had great results. What it has showed so far, DRF, has been a run in day 2 where they have not dropped a single map in their run to winners finals so far. They 3-0'd Broccoli on Pizza to basically make it to where they need to go, and they're looking for a grand finals push to make it all the they're looking for this set, to win so they can make it to grand finals. No creith, no bow. The other team from the bottom side of winners brackets, you guys should have saw it on stream. 3-1's the Koalition there, and from what I see, yes, so that was their only map loss coming into this run. They 2-0'd Squid Busters. They 2-0'd the Saturn's rings, getting to that spot. So right now, no creith, no bow does show some signs of a slow start. M.A.D, we saw it from earlier, DRF. They ran the double ultra stamp comp centered around the mini and the wiper. The other two players can change their weapons based on what the map mode's throwing at them. We just saw no creith, no bow. I think we're gonna be teeing up for a fun winners finals and hopefully a really good set to watch.
Now, fantastic job setting the stage there, Kyon. And I want to add a little bit to it as well, because if you look at day 1, these two teams played each other round 4, and M.A.D won 2-1. So there is already some history within this tournament for these two teams, and both teams were towards both teams went 5-1 yesterday, so both have experienced those set losses. No creith, no bow's only loss was to M.A.D. M.A.D ultimately ended up losing in round 6 to rest in the Milky Way, and I believe that they might already be out of the tournament too, right?
They're already out. Yeah.
So really interesting setting the stage here for these two teams who have already clashed. They've had some, they had a close set originally. M.A.D beat this team, but had lost to what seemed to have been the front runner coming into day 2, who is now out of the tournament. So it's opened the pathway for these two to be the Titans that are going to be facing off here in winners finals, potentially even again in grand finals if it comes to it. So I think that we have quite the perfect stage here for our winners finals.
For those who are keeping tabs of what the for what we have here, is we have Hagelfish Market Zones. Want to know the really funny part of the DRF for round 4? No zones.
Did they start here?
They did not start in zones. This is their first battle against each other in zones. That's the hey, we got to throw an interesting wrinkle to every story we love to tell.
Yes, I thought you were gonna say that they faced each other here, but no, it's quite the opposite.
The exact opposite.
Okay, I am living for this. So the first opportunity for these two teams to feel each other out on Splat zones. Let's take a look at these compositions, Kyo, because we've gotten to see them both play already. And it's nothing too surprising from either side to start.
So Zor, what took me a bit was this is Zor on the Frozen Pro this time, kind of almost taking a page out of the playbook from the Koalition this time. You got that, you got those 10 missiles available. If you're able to make the spacing count. Kenji has that auto rush this time, but we already know that they've been an excellent rush player. So willing to see how this all plays out. The opening start here is going to be the big thing because that is 2 members already down from M.A.D. No creith, no bow, already taking out a couple members right out of the gate. This is going to, of course, be the early lead to start. Now, how does this all materialize here for M.A.D. to get the next counter push in? That's the big question. They lose mental. Kenji already gone to start things off. Agent 8 is now, and the rest of M.A.D. are now moving up forward. Trip specs being used. One of them just hit the wall. No problem. Only 67 points remaining. M.A.D. does lose them all, but they did buy themselves some time to start.
Yeah. It is no creith, no bow who does dominate this early game. Couple of nice bomb placement there to sort of bait the player out and catch them, off guard, take them out. So now M.A.D. has the opportunity to flip the zone. They do momentarily, but we are now entering a bit of a stalemate here. Both teams really vying for control, and finally M.A.D. is gonna win out, but they don't have the numbers, so the question is, how long can they reasonably sustain this?
That's going to be the ultimate question. But right now, talented, by the way, the backline player for this team, I think was playing a bit of frontline. We're gonna leave those comments later. There, we're just gonna pretend that happened. 3 members have already gone down from M.A.D.'s end, as that zip counter does get 1. Paper is right there, lurking large on that right-hand side of the map, and it is so far no creith, no bow. They're gonna be out of these points here soon. 63-point remaining, still counting down. M.A.D. on a delayed 2. And so far, no creith, no bow, still playing this one a little bit close to the zone, not looking for the lockout quite yet. They're giving themselves some time to strike with their range. DRF, 40 points remaining. No creith, no bow, still ticking down.
Certainly, as now both teams again approaching the zone here. We're gonna run into another stalemate. This zone pretty neutral, but no creith, no bow has the slight numbers advantage. As I believe M.A.D. gonna have their 4th member swimming on in here, and I think that might have been a hammer that secured that double. So now it is M.A.D. who suddenly flips the tides back in their favor, and they are gonna have a solid opportunity to control this zone and quickly diminish the lead that no creith, no bow has spent the last 3 minutes building up.
So big thing for M.A.D. They just need they have to get some more additional value from their double ultra stand setup. Kenji has other ideas. 1 Zipcaster collision and auto brush later, and it leads to the full wipeout there. 2+2 wipeout on top of it. So now this is no creith, no bow. They are able to put penalty points onto M.A.D.'s end. M.A.D. does have a double stand, which by the way they just used, and they did take out Kenji all the way from distance. That might be huge, but they did lose talent on the other side of the fence. But that might just be enough. That's really all they needed on top of it. They do take out 1 more member out of the picture there. 1:30 left to go on the clock. Zor's eliminated. M.A.D. gets through, and this could be a good time for them to strike here, DRF.
Oh, both of these teams like piranhas right now, just absolutely storming into each other's, backlines and just clashing. I mean, everybody just chomping at the bit here, trying to find picks left and right. We've seen some creative picks here as well. So now this lead down to 14, but it's perfect timing. No Creith, no Bow able to at least slap on a 41-point penalty to M.A.D, but M.A.D maintains control. So they're going to be able to start working through this penalty once again. No Creith, no Bow, just trying to build up their special. They're going to take their time here. They know they have a little bit of time to work with, but then someone the hammer, and they don't. Two go down, Keo make it down a third, but the Dreadringer is still online with their Reef Slider. They're going to have to possibly make a hero play here with it. I think they need to be comfortable giving up this lead, though, and that's exactly what they're going to do. Oh, but no, they go two down, make that a third. Keone, I think this one's done. M.A.D comes from behind to win this game in knockout fashion.
This is the thing, if you are at what I was about to know before I handed the mic off to you, DRF, was they needed to get immediate value from their double ultra stamp setup that they had. When we covered them earlier, they had so much value from Dane with the mini, a Beer with the wiper, and it didn't look like it was all materializing. They just didn't have a chance to use it to its fullest potential right up until that very moment. And the reason why you saw the zone flips be applied there so quick from No Creith, no Bow, they had a pencil, they had the Dreadringer with that Reef Slider available if they can make it count. They couldn't, and they had that Reef Slider near ready to go. I was about to say you were about to be on top of it too. Wait for the time to use the Reef Slider and then burn it through. But M.A.D gets that important pick, which means there's no chance for No Creith, no Bow to even get the last desperation cap that they really needed. And what an effort from M.A.D to start off game one, and now No Creith, no Bow in a slightly familiar territory from game one. They lose game one, but game one here, now they got to figure out the counter pick that works out well for them. M.A.D just has not lost a step so far.
Yeah, I mean, I think the key thing though is that No Creith, no Bow was in control for the entirety of that game, I feel like. Up until the hammer that shook the market. And that double was the key that managed to finally give M.A.D the opportunity that they had been clamoring for 3.5 minutes. And finally, it gave them that chance to start pressing up. It was the definitive number swings that they needed, and they completely ran away from it. I mean, No Creith, no Bow looked like they might have had a look there, but M.A.D just shut it down before they could even get close to the position that they needed to make a game-saving play.
Chad and everybody else, buckle up. We might be in for a fun one with how back and forth we went. Now, if there's anything that we know, DRF, you know it before. History from round 4 yesterday. The maps that were played was Undertow Rainmaker, Mega Mart TC, and Scorch Gorge Clan Blitz. Keep that in mind if we see those weapons for. So, or the map, excuse me, that we have seen these for. So, I mean, DRF, if there's anything that M.A.D's been consistent on, is keeping the double ultra stamp steady. So far, what was it? A Beer and Dane have been absolutely cooking with those ultra stamps. No Creith, no Bow has been trying to make something work with that. Yep, it's right away. Undertow Rainmaker is gonna be the one in question, and this is intriguing because I have to look at this one. Was that the one that M.A.D won yesterday, if I'm not mistaken?
M.A.D did win this in game 1 yesterday.
What do they have now? They got something. They have something.
They have to have a plan of sorts, because surface level, you look at this and alarm bells are just ringing, like 5-alarm fire here. What? I would love to know, what the thought process is coming into this one, because you just counterpicked into a map mode that you lost to M.A.D on yesterday. So they've already set a precedent that, hey, M.A.D has the upper hand on this particular map mode against you. So there must have been a little bit more to it when they played yesterday, where they might have seen an opportunity like, hey, if we had brought out X, Y, or Z weapon instead, we really could have had them. So this could be something that they just knew that they had something that could flip the tide. I don't know. But it is certainly one of the most intriguing counter-picking decisions that we have seen today.
This, again, they have to have something ready in the wings for this counter pick. That's what we're gonna have to keep an eye on. Vanilla Dreadringer here is gonna be dished out. E-Leader being dished out here by Felix. Zor switching away from the Frozen Pro to the Ultra Stamp. Now you're gonna get to see the Wiper with the Ultra Stamp. It's gonna be a duel between a Beer and Zor for the Wiper so far in terms of these mirrors. So you get a map like this where hey, what if I go Wiper duel against the other in this situation? And so far, on paper, that looks like Kenji got 2 picks from that right-hand side of the map. So that does allow an opening for No Creith Nobo to take advantage. There is an overset that picks up paper, but it is not the main Rainmaker holder whatsoever. The checkpoint has been cleared anyway for No Creith Nobo. They're gonna run for the hills. DRF about 40 seconds into this game, and already the first checkpoint cleared for No Creith Nobo.
Yeah, so they definitely opened this game up with a bang, as Talent, though, hitting a shot, bang, bang, to be able to reset this Rainmaker. So, a great response there to reset, get back control of mid, but No Creith Nobo clearing that checkpoint in the opening 30 seconds. Like we said, there had to have been a plan. There was definitely a reason that they wanted to go this way, and at least the strong opening indicates that this might not be such a bad idea, but they need to secure that this checkpoint is safe before I think I say more.
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't get ahead here, because Zor has other ideas right now, and Zor gets a couple, and Zor is definitely showing up on that Wiper that they needed. The Ultra Stamp does not quite find anybody else with that toss. Barely keeping that checkpoint alive though. That's the thing that No Creith Nobo has going for them right now. And now something that I've noticed so far here, URF, is it's basically now a two-headed monster between with No Creith Nobo dishing out Zor and Kenji, these two together trying to play for the skirmish game. So this is kind of something that we need to keep eyes on in this particular map mode. Agent 8 is just gonna try to go for this early first checkpoint. They're gonna be able to. It's gonna be uncontested. So now both checkpoints cleared right away. No here. So Agent 8 is still trying to look for the pick because he's gonna get the trade onto Zor. It's two members that are trying to volley for this one, and I think they may have to let this one go. Prevent the pop. The ink back is right there, and the Kenji is right there. Is there from this layer that is able to get a few of the members on top of it. 3 members drop. The lead changes hands. A delayed wipe, but then those points could have picked on a lot more. Europe, a lot happening on that one. It ends with M.A.D taking the lead back.
Yeah, so they do tack on a few extra points there at the end, but now the question is, did they pay the right price? Because Felix is making a beeline for that ramp on the right side, and that is quickly gonna flip the lead back in No Creith Nobo's favor. So the price was steep for those extra few points from M.A.D, and now they're really feeling the pressure as it is now 26 remaining with just under 2 minutes to play, Keon, but they do have a heck of a lot of specials to build up their response.
Yeah, never underestimate the power of double stamps when you needed it. Never underestimate the power of the ink back and the Booyah Bomb when they also need it on top of it too. The Booyah Bomb is being used to displace a few members from No Creith Nobo. They get 2 members out of the picture. It's one half of the two-headed monster here with Kenji going down. They are dropping the Reseller on top of it too. Now they pick up this Rainmaker here. There are a few members that dropped, and now Dane that picked up this Rainmaker was about to push for the right-hand side of the map. Felix drops the Agent 8 on this S-Blast, but there's no movement quite yet. Kenji's trying to dive deep into this one, but is gonna get traded by the end of it. 1 minute and 10 seconds left to go. Dane is still trying to make some nifty moves, but they lose all of their members on top of it. Zor is still trying to fight. Dane is still holding on to this Rainmaker. The timer has to be at least past the halfway marker right now, but they are dropped. Oh my goodness, DRF, that was kind of an interesting hold there from M.A.D, at least for the Rainmaker. They're gonna need a little bit more right now. 45 seconds left to go on this clock. Two members have gone down. No Creith Nobo is slowly losing members, but they got to make this defense hold at the most critical time. And now DRF, it's pretty much now the last 30 seconds. They got to restart to make it work for.
Yeah, they have to sort of pull a rabbit out of a hat here as the Reef Slider comes in from the heavens to pick off one. They were definitely hoping to find two there. I think they had kind of sensed that there was more people for them to possibly pick off. But now Stamperdane is going to start leading this charge. Final 10 seconds. They do have the numbers advantage, but they have to completely round this corner.
Oh,
the
no!
caster just going offline. But I think that was either the Dread or was the E-Leader that managed to follow up and get the pick there. And no Creeth, no Bow. In spectacular fashion, composes that response to, you know, somehow come back here and win game number 2. I mean, again, this was such a bizarre counterpick decision, but we knew that you kind of picked this for a reason. And
yes.
It seemed like that they almost had a chip on their shoulder from yesterday, and the only reason that you would counterpick to a map mode that the other team beat you on is if you knew you could take it right back to them. It seemed like that they came into this game wanting to prove something, and I think they certainly did.
To tell the entire story for that particular map, it all came down to what was basically a pick, but onto the wrong member there on paper. And not necessarily wrong, but not the target that they were hoping for to stop the push from M.A.D. It leads to the quick first checkpoint, which does open up a lot of moves down the road. M.A.D. getting the extra points, as you noted. You get the extra points, you get the lead, but did you push too much for it? And the crazy thing is, it's the unconventional right side push that Felix and the group recognized there was like, all right, well, they may be pushing left. Why don't we go right this time? We can get a quick lead this way because it was 49 points remaining. It's not like, you know, you're down to 20 points or 10 points remaining there as well. They could go for a quick lead change just by pushing right, and the vision was nearly there by using the Reef Slider to then swim for it. No, but it didn't materialize at all. So no Creeth, no Bow had the proper response, and they took advantage of the game situation on top of it. This is deja vu for us here, DRF, because we're back in Humpback Pump Track Rainmaker Game 3. This is M.A.D's counterpick this time. If there's anything that we have seen, Rainmaker has seems to be the flavor in games 2 and 3, and it's M.A.D's turn to see if they can make this one count. I think we shouldn't be surprised though if they keep the Ultra Stamp duo that they have been dishing out each game.
Some really gutsy counterpicking today. I must commend these teams on this, because it takes a lot of guts first and foremost for no Creeth, no Bow to counterpick Rainmaker Undertow that they had lost yesterday to M.A.D. So winning that immediately sends a message of like, hey, you beat us, but it was a fluke kind of thing. And then now immediately counterpicking back into the same mode, something that you just typically don't see teams do, and we now are seeing this in back-to-back sets, where we counterpick from one Rainmaker map into Rainmaker Humpback. So again, that is still a really gutsy choice, because most teams, the minute that they lose on a particular mode, they usually try to steer a different direction. So I don't know. The other thing I'm going to point out today as well is that we have not really seen Clan Blitz.
Clan Blitz is a myth.
So I don't know if Clan Blitz suddenly was just low-ink banned, or like, you know, these teams really want to make sure that we get our money's worth on Splat Zones, Rainmaker and Tower, and particularly Rainmaker.
I hate to break down on you, buddy. There are 3 out of 4 weapon changes from M.A.D. Remember when I said that I wouldn't be shocked that they went back to double Ultra Stamp? Say they decided to hear me and just toss my words out of the gate. It's a beer on the Dynamo this time. The Vanilla Junior from Talent, who is, in all of the games we have seen, has been the backline guy, and then the custom range blaster with the Kraken. This is a very fascinating set of weapon changes that we are seeing so far from M.A.D, and it may work because it could be the first checkpoint, maybe a whole lot more, because it's the delayed 3 down on top of it, and DRF, they might be setting themselves up for a bigger push.
They certainly have the positioning to do so. plus the Kraken on their side, but the Kraken, I think, went a little bit too deep into the base as 2 members slipped on through and was able to shut down that Rainmaker. The numbers are even, though, between these 2 squads. Everybody's falling left and right. So, Abir now having to back up, getting their teammates back into the action here. The Zipcast is going to be diving on into them, but not going to be able to find the value that they were hoping for. 2 members going down on the side of no creep, no bow. So M.A.D. with the 3rd pick is going to be able to pick up this Rainmaker before it resets right in the nick of time. So, this is going to be additional points on the board for M.A.D. and they get to 33 remaining. It almost seemed like they could have gone just a little bit further, Keon, and I think they might just do that on the back of his hammer.
They might be able to do it on the back of that hammer, and they're able to swim through and at least get a few more points on the board. This is the 2-minute defense that no creith, no bows have to deal with. They get the wipeout, which is basically the saving grace for no creith, no bow. 24 points remaining. The thing I was about to go ooh and ah about was a timely bubble from Talent, by the way, that's able to make this one count. But Zor is chasing Dane, and it is a 3-for-1 trade. 2 members have gone down. Paper's gonna be the one to slam this Rainmaker home. Now we're at a checkpointless game once again on both sides. No specials so far, so both teams are just volleying for any sort of position they can work for. The Reslider is available. I think they're just gonna have to hold on to this one, or at least drop it on top of it. But I mean, DRF 2 minutes and 50 seconds left to go. No creith, no bow is still got that first checkpoint at the very least there to set themselves for later on if they're able to take advantage. But so far, both teams are just trying to now volley for position, especially now that they realize what their situations are.
And both checkpoints being cleared in those first 2 minutes does set the stage for a relatively high-scoring game. So I have a feeling that neither score from these teams is going to stand as both teams continue to fight for position. Specials coming out now. It's going to be the Kraken that comes out as well. Paper going to try to run the opposite direction with the Rainmaker, but there just was not enough blue paint down on their path to be able to let them run away with this one. So it is now going to be an opportunity for M.A.D. as they call out the Zipcaster there, trying to find a hammer as well. It looks like no creith, no bow. Just a little bit scattered right now. Not quite in the position, not quite together. Finally, they're going to back up a little bit, but no Agent 8 finds
Hello.
two, looking for the 3rd. They're waiting for the drop-ins here. Not going to be able to find it as Zor's going to have to somehow survive dropping in there and is able to find one themselves. It is absolute pandemonium, Keon, as neither team is really getting the upper hand in this neutral state.
Yeah, nobody really quite getting the upper hand so far in a point where things can suddenly change on a dime. Zor is throwing the Ultra Slam, doesn't get the main target, that's good, but that might be okay because now everybody's been surrounded here from M.A.D. They aren't going to be able to get enough points on the board. Now we're down to basically the point where you only have a few pushes left if you are no creith, no bow. The priority targets now have to be identified here. Who's been the thorn on your side from M.A.D's end? Is it all the different dynamics and different weapons? Is it Agent 8 who has been delivering on that custom blaster? That is their target, and 2 more have gone down on top of it. But the Rainmaker is dropped. That is gonna buy M.A.D some time to contest back. They are gonna pick up this Rainmaker. Everybody has moved forward, by the way. Zor and everybody else is trying to go for it. Ultra Sim is being tossed. There's not really an opening either. The wipeout is secured. They don't get the lead. It's a 30-24 difference, and DRF M.A.D holds for one last chance, and they are looking possibly for the stall or possibly, if anything, more points on the board.
Yeah, it looked like that they were getting ready to swing it to the left-hand side there. And we saw what happened earlier when you stall over there. So it looks like they're going to go ahead and try to stall this one out in mid. Abir now getting behind the back line is able to shut that one down. But the Rainmaker goes down, and this might be one more opportunity. And
no!
There goes the blaster as well. So they have to pick up this Rainmaker right now. Are they going to be able to touch it? Yes, they do. They barely get to it. Paper now backing up, running for their lives, trying to get away from the ball, but they squid rolled into it. Oh, they had the right idea. Paper almost coming out with a hero play there. Just squid rolled the wrong direction, and their overtime push is cut short.
That was probably a situation where Paper probably did not want to necessarily pick up the Rainmaker because They had a special ready on the Reef Slider. The situation unfortunately called that somebody had to pick it up to at least keep the push going. Paper had to do the one thing that at least they had to do, you know, to keep the game alive for no creith, no bow. It is just cut short when it mattered the most. I thought that was gonna be the stall in the game, but no creith, no bow kept every opportunity alive when it mattered at the end. A lot of opportunities for no creith, no bow as well. They were winning several fights at the end, but they were also losing some of them equally with via trades, and just cut short by the 6 points remaining. A lot of the weapons were all basically collapsed on them on the last Rainmaker push. It was basically a 3v2 situation from M.A.D. that they were able to take advantage of. No creith, no bow, just did not have enough firepower left to make a comeback possible. And M.A.D, by the way, DRF and chat, they're one game away from punching their ticket to grand finals. They just have to they just have to survive another no creith, no bow counterpick. But M.A.D's plan was pretty much solid, but got a little dicey at the end.
Yeah, dicey for sure.
Yeah.
As they were effectively wiped out there. You know, the Dynamos really making a resurgence here with, especially on Humpback Pump Track, and you know, rightfully so. I mean, I thought that actually No Creith, No Bow did a great job of, you know, handling that too. Because the win condition was going to be centered around making sure that the Dynamo was not set up on the elbow, and you know, I think they did a good job of shutting that down, but it was just, you know, towards the end there, a little bit too much chaos to sort of corral it all in and, you know, get back some stable control in the late game situation. So I thought it was quite the valiant effort. They hit most of their win conditions, but they just needed probably one more person to be alive to make it possible.
For the first time in this low wing stream, DRF, Clam Blitz has made an appearance. We were wondering when this very day has showed up, and it's no creith, no bows counter pick here for Clam Blitz Museum de Alfonsino to start this one off. What was the weapons that they have dished out so far? They had Zor on the Wiper. They had what was it? The Pencil, the Dreadringer, and the Octobrush. That's right. So that is their setup that they've dished out here. I think this is probably a weapon composition that works itself out well in Museum de Alfonsino Clam Blitz. For M.A.D, they went away from double Ultra Sam in the previous game, went 3 out of 4 weapon switches basically. So anything basically goes for this group here. The thing that's been consistent so far, DRF, is that Dane has stuck with the Villanilla Mini, and I imagine that will probably be the same here, unless Dane has one last trick up their sleeves to see if they can seal this one home. So this is gonna be a fun counter, to say the least. It's gonna be a game. It's gonna be a battle of whose teamwork and control of the map, especially in a map that has 2 avenues to approach. Most notably, the ramp probably being the best option. How do they make this one all count? I take this one back. Dane had to. The immediate jinx is Dane switching over to the Sorella Tentambrella. Now M.A.D is showing that they don't want Ultra Stamps anymore. They're gonna go for range being the decision here, and Kenji is switching over to the Mint Decaf. Now you got effectively double Stamper type weapons on the board, DRF.
I'm just happy we're finally playing Clam Blitz.
Yeah.
As we take off into game number 4, both of these teams diving on into mid, trying to get some early control, but a couple of different fights taking place. 2 little sections of the map here where these clashes are going down, as Stanford Dane, I think, got 3 on the Zuka. A little bit of a stagger each Zuka shot, taking down somebody, but it's somehow somebody still slips through enough to get the jump in and the first score of the game. I don't think we're gonna see any follow-up here unless Zora can actually get up there. No, okay, not gonna happen. So just a quick little jab there with 1 power clam. So it's, again, a very chaotic game between these two, especially as we start out here, Kyo.
That's a free power clam for M.A.D, but that's also a fan anywho. But I think No Creith, No Bow is like, all right, we found that opportunity. Dane, sure, you get the triple with the Zuka. That's not gonna really destroy us whatsoever. We can make this one count. Here's the Reef Slider being used by Paper. This is just gonna be Paper quickly beat up their power clam and then retreat for the hills. there with that cooler. So this is now just a power clamp only game to say the least here. But the problem that this does, it gives M.A.D 2 free power clamps if they don't have the follow-up to make it work. And now M.A.D can swiftly, if they're able to get their advantages through, they expect the Kraken to be used for this purpose. See if they can get the lead change on their own with the 2 free clamps that No Creith No Bow gave to them. It's a lot of control around this map. There's one trying to go for the right-hand side. They get snuffed out, and so far, M.A.D is still biding their time. If anything, that power clamp is going to disappear, so the opportunity is going to be gone at the very least. But DRF, decent hope of No Creith No Bow, but there's still a few more punches left.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't hate the idea of, trying to get in a series of quick jabs, one power clamp pushes and giving the other team a couple of power clamps as well, because it's going to force them to have to juggle all the power clamps, which effectively is just, a free location, giveaway. So I actually don't hate the idea, because now you're forcing them to, have to act with these power clamps. And so far it's been working, because M.A.D has not managed to build up a response push quite yet. Because I think a lot of their focus has been on trying to, one, juggle these power clamps, and two, No Creith No Bow I think is playing just a little bit faster. So M.A.D is constantly having to kind of check behind them, which in turn is slowing down their play and forcing them to play a little bit more isolated from the rest of their team.
Quick question for you, DRF. What would M.A.D need to do with the weapons that they have dished out? How do they counter against No Creith No Bow, especially with the way No Creith No Bow is just dishing out power clamp after power clamp?
Well, when you have a tent, a lot of your offense is going to revolve around it. With the, I know they have like the dynamo and such as well, but at the end of the day, they need to find a way to get that tent set up right on the ramp. So they're going to have to, utilize, that the Dread Ringer and the Blaster in particular to start working some of those ledges. So right now they actually, I think, do have the slight upper hand in mid. This cooler might change that. But now with the numbers advantage, here we go. This is exactly what M.A.D needed here. Now they're going to be able to get that tent set up right on the ramp, and they're going to pop the tent. Here it goes, and this is going to be the way they start to move in. But first they need to outlast that Reef Slider, which they do perfectly. And now here comes the follow-up with the Reef Slider, but I don't think they know that the wrong person is holding the power clamp. Oh, that was a perfect opportunity, but finally they get it back up there. The tent comes back just in time to provide some protection, able to get those 2 power clamps and plus 3 little ones, and now the lead swings back in their favor. 30 seconds to play, Kyo. They pay a hefty price of 3 people for it though, so No Creith No Bow, in order to win this game, needs a power clamp plus 4.
Power clamp plus 4 or 2 power clamps because they got a handful of them on the board. Zor's going to be the one to try to take advantage of it. 2 members have gone down right away, and now they have to play this one a little passively. They need to look for the window of opportunity to strike, but they're losing members left and right. The pencil is going to be huge. Kenji has to be the one to provide some hero efforts here with the ball that's being thrown into the picture. Now everybody's just going to play for a full defensive maneuver here, as no one is able to move quite yet. Paper is still lurking large. 2 members have gone down. This has to be the time for them to strike. A beer is still looking forward. Paper is snuffed out. Paper is snuffed out. The Ultra Stamp is right there, but they're not able to break it through with 3 members that have gone down to the picture. The wipeout is secured, and M.A.D on one last push did what they needed to do and then retreat to a defensive setup that they desperately needed. M.A.D goes to grand finals. No Creith No Bow has another chance in lower brackets, but M.A.D is your first team entering grand finals out of the winner's side.
Beautiful execution there. It was definitely a little bit iffy in the early game, but M.A.D, they finally did exactly what, I had sort of said there. You kind of hinted early on that they were going to play with a lot of range, and that does make a good opportunity to put up a strong defense. And they did that right there at the very end. A perfect setup from the Dynamo to sit on their spinner and make it so difficult to get up onto their plat. But it makes the offense just a little bit tricky to get going. But once they were able to do so, they managed to, put in exactly what they needed, the 2 power clamps plus 3, which was just enough lead for them to, hey, okay, finally, we got our 1 push off, hang back. use our range. They are not touching this plat again. And M.A.D. secures that grand final spot.
What a fantastic showing from M.A.D. 3-1 over No Creith, No Bow. No Creith, No Bow, by the way, is going to be awaiting the winner of the Koalition and Broccoli on Pizza on the other side of the brackets. Lower bracket semifinals is going to be coming up here soon, but DRF, we're not going to be the ones to cover it because that is it for both of us here. We're going to give you guys two new commentators here with Brush and Saf covering, taking you guys home the rest of the way. DRF, though, it's always fun working with you. Where can the people find you?
Likewise. You can find me on Blue Sky DRF-Splatoon, on Twitch Triton DRF, but per usual, you can find me over at the CCA, covering all things collegiate Splatoon. Kyon, it's been a while. I'm so glad we got to do this together. Go ahead and plug yourself.
You got it. You guys can find me, Kyon2570, on Blue Sky and on Twitch. I'll probably be watching football here in about a few moments. Clamblitz, none of the Clamblitz variety, in case that wasn't obvious. Sam, by the way, massive shout outs, by the way, to Sam, our producer, that has taken you guys from the start. But Sam's gonna have to stick around a little bit longer because, again, Brush and Saf will be closing you guys out here for this edition of Low Ink. When we come back, losers semis between the Koalition and Broccoli on Pizza will be coming up here. You don't want to miss a thing. We'll be right back.
friends, and welcome back to Low Ink. I'm not Popgun, I'm Brushstrokes. Joined with me is Saf. I think the last time I commentated Low Ink, Saf, was like March of 2024. And
it kind of feels like you're returning home, like you've been away, like a soldier away at war, and now you're knocking on the door, and instead of a note of deceased, it's, hey, I'm gonna actually go sit in my chair and commentate Low Ink for January 2026.
What a dark mental image to start us on. Oh my god. So just like
It's lighthearted.
Yeah, a note, and it's just like Brush died. He didn't commentate.
No one said that.
Okay.
Here lies Brush. he didn't talk enough.
Exactly. But hey, we're back. I in addition to that, Saf, I must say, for the first time since maybe 2023, I commentated with someone who wasn't Popgun on Wednesday. So the whole synergy that doesn't require just being totally mean is new to me. Like, having to be friendly on the mic is something that is totally not my domain.
I know your co-commentator isn't making fun of you all the time. You have to be with someone like Keon, who is just too pure for this earth. When he walks, flowers come up in his footsteps. I mean, come on.
Precisely. Well, I have something just as evil as Popgun, and that is a team name like Broccoli on Pizza, hitting us for our loser bracket semis match. Gotta say, as you put it before we got on the mic, a bit busy of a weekend. I did not do as much quite stat tracking on our commentated matches here. I don't know, Saf, if you had a moment to pull up the stats on any of these guys.
Just a little bit, and one thing I want to point out is that these are very detailed logos. I mean, you have a koala and an avocado kind of about to dap each other up. That's pretty interesting. Maybe I've been off the internet for too long to not really know what the heck is going on here. And speaking of which, of what the heck is going on, there's a lot of melee going on the side of Koalition.
Yeah, are these memes we're supposed to know? Okay, whatever. We're gonna play some Splatoon now. Starting off zones on Umami. Some quick picks coming out, but you know, it's Umami. It's gonna be this dual zone masterpiece, spending time to find a big advantage, and then, you know, that snowball collapse that we'll see, and that's Koalition taking an early collapse.
Early collapse indeed, because there's a lot of purple going down over here and already making headway into the zoning area of Broccoli on Pizza. They're kind of trying to spread out their resources here, but not really finding an opening quite yet. Kind of poking the bear, if you will. You can see, I believe that's the Brush player, Rat, over on the front. Kind of trying to put some ink down, maybe seeing if we can entice some folks of the Koalition to come a little closer. But if you don't want to give up too much space, because now you got missiles taking the other half of your zone.
I've been enjoying watching the Dynamo gameplay. It's not the first time we've seen it on stream today. And you know, it's one of those ones, it's slower. It doesn't quite fit in with the modern meta, like this aggression and this quick-paced gameplay. So seeing someone like Dynamo be able to use that weapon, play slow, back up, hold large amounts of zone. I mean, obviously now on the back foot, but a good 50-point lead early there, in no small part because of the weapon.
Right, and Broccoli on Pizza now going to reverse the narrative here. That's two members going down on the side of Koalition. The Koalition is now trapped inside of their spawning area. Poland is going to make a really crucial pick here against Gang. That make it 2, looking to probably make it 3, getting a little bit of damage there, but with some help from our friends, that's a third member on Broccoli on Pizza going down. The missiles are going to help with that tracking effort here, and zone goes back to the Koalition. Very, it's like you were saying, the Dynamo really slows down the gameplay a little bit, because that Dynamo player does not want to overextend themselves. You don't want to give away your secrets like a magician would in the magic trick scenario here. But because especially if you have someone like Broccoli on Pizza, Gang is going to break forth here, not only taking so much space, but also going to throw that hammer and take one member down with them as well. But that takes out the Dynamo player. So the Koalition really needs to take it slow here. They don't want to push up too far, because now you have Broccoli on Pizza infiltrating into your kitchen.
Yeah, I mean, one of the more important things about Broccoli on Pizza's comp on the flip side is that Octo Brush, right? So being able to move up aggressively, take space, and really put Koalition, force them to slow down is important. We saw there, though, a Zipcaster didn't pay off on the aggression, and it's the Koalition trying to break back in, but not going to quite find it. Trades going down there in the left pick, Koala down, and a well-maintained zone here, and there's Radivor with that brush, cleaning it up at the end here. So just a couple more spritz of ink, and that'll be our game one. A solid lockout from Broccoli on Pizza. Took them a second to find their footing, but I think that speed plays a big role.
And I appreciate actually that the Octopus player, that Rat, the zone was lost, right? Like we had 2 seconds left. There was no penalty in sight, trying to block us here. But Rat was just kind of like, okay, I'm gonna get a pick. I'm gonna get 2. And then I will now paint the zone. We'll keep it under wraps here. I feel like sometimes when you get into that single-digit era, you kind of start to panic a little bit because you're like, oh no, like, okay, we have to keep maintaining zone. We have to keep maintaining our points. We have to maintain our lead. We don't want to give ourselves a penalty because then that is a whole other hill that we have to traverse before we can actually make it to the finish line. So I appreciate the calm, cool collectedness of Broccoli on Pizza being like, okay, we just have to take out the threat, and then, yes, we can repaint the zone. That's going to lock in our victory there. In the counter pick, though, so no more zones for Broccoli on Pizza, no more Umami Ruins. The Koalition now is sitting in the counter pick seat. Okay, Brush, I have a question that's been burning in my mind.
Yeah,
Are you familiar with the Muppets?
I am. I certainly am.
Okay, that makes this even better. Okay, so there's this real story time. There is this whole discussion that I get to have with friends and with colleagues and coworkers, and we always talk about like, okay, is a person a Muppet, or are they just a human person that lives on Sesame Street? And
Specifically on Sesame Street?
Yes, like a human person that lives on Sesame Street. And I'm wondering to you if like we were like tried to deliberate. We were like, okay, so who's a Muppet and then who's this? And I am convinced that Popgun is a Muppet. I'm just saying.
Oh, fascinating.
I think he's a Muppet.
Oh,
but like,
so...
I think you are a human person that lives on Sesame Street, but Popgun, 100% Muppet.
So typically, right, the question is, am I a man or am I a Muppet, right?
Right.
Like that's the more... And the difference between a man and a person living on Sesame Street is significant, obviously. A very different character there. But I was going to go the other way. I was going to say Popgun's certainly a caring, loving, adult human person on Sesame Street. And me, 100% a Muppet. I mean, just like the bane of all evil.
And you know, I feel like if you feel that in your soul that you are a Muppet, then I don't think I can like take that away from you. I can't be like, no, you're not a Muppet. You're not a Muppet. Because like, who am I to do that? That's upsetting to all levels. And what else? Especially if I'm Broccoli on Pizza, the opening push is going to go to the Koalition. I would be pretty upset about that too.
What a segue, Saf. Really excellent stuff here on the mic on Low in January 2026. I was looking for a segue. I was gonna like say something about Animal and the rat gameplay of the Octobrush, but I think that works just as well. So a zone flip back and forth. Now it's Broccoli on Pizza in control, but look, we're looking at the first minute of Maki Maki here. It's gonna take a second for the map to change and for everyone to find their footing. So don't be surprised if this lead flips 3 more times.
Yeah, and I appreciate the comp change coming out from the Koalition as well. The X-Splasher is a great use of painting control here on Mahi Mahi zones. You have a lot of high ground that you can utilize. There's a lot of open space down below too, so X-Splasher, really wonderful pick. Also going to open the gateway too for those red dapples to really cause a lot of damage. You have to be in close quarters there, but also you still are maintaining your cooler weapon, which coolerless comp on the side of Broccoli on Pizza, but they do have that reflux in tow as well. So I guess painting power at an all-time high, but the very unconventional weapons that you wouldn't normally see. So that's always a really fun mix to have.
As penalty points start to tick, it's going to be the fight moving to zone as Koalition dives in. Now getting a trade there, 3-on-3. Gang with that reflex, looking to find it. Goes down to Koala. Now around the right side, it's the Dapple dualies for the Koalition. I just got the joke. And 2 more picks as the zone flips.
I love an Endangered Species Act type type beat where we are defending the koalas. So that's actually tickles my heart a little bit. Wanting to defend a species that we appreciate so much, being the koala. So the Koalition now having a firm hold in the center of the map here. The Tri-Strikes are going to come out and cover a little bit of the zone, but not entirely with what Broccoli on Pizza was looking for. And Rat not really getting much value out of that Zipcaster. Definitely very scary, considering there is a lot of attachment points and verticality here that the Zipcaster could find a lot of value in. But still, the Koalition is going to be holding firm.
Yeah, I mean, I've been watching Rat trying to find that aggression, right, for Broccoli on Pizza, and not quite finding the utility they're looking for on these plays. Maybe an eye off of zone is just all that they need, but Broccoli on Pizza firmly on the back foot here is going to get another chance to break into zone, charge some specials, but if you're Rat on that Octobrush, you've got to be finding those picks, upping that Zipcaster, getting behind them, going down, but a beautiful pick from Koala with the dualies, those dapples, and I'm not sure if Broccoli's going to have a way in.
Yeah, really good funding coming into the Koalition to keep the koalas safe. That is down to the single digits for the Koalition, looking to see if they can tie the set here. And they absolutely will, because the Tri-Strikes were just too little too late. So that is a 1-1 score looking at this loser semis.
Saf, are you a man or a Muppet, or are you a person on Sesame Street?
Oh, I'm a Muppet. Yep.
Okay, that's done. That's just in the bag, ready to go.
I can't even, I there's so many things I could try to even, like, argue to you to be like, yeah, I live on Sesame Street. No, I am a Muppet that lives on Sesame Street.
Are you, oh, but you're a Sesame Street Muppet. You're not a Muppet Muppet.
No, I don't think I'm a Muppet Muppet. Maybe, I don't know. I really resonate with Beaker.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, I can't really give too much insight as to why that is, but I do feel that Beaker, it really resonates with me. He really resonates with me, you know?
Can you not share why you're like Beaker, because it's like deeply ingrained and you don't have the words for it? Is there like some secret test lab lore about Saf that's not coming out on the mic today? Is there something going on?
I think it's because I really appreciate Dr. Honeydew. And yeah, for those of you that are not up to date on the Muppet lore, let me spit some information here for you. Beaker is the wonderful kind of timid assistant to Dr. Bunsen Honeydew on the Muppets. And so I feel that I am not somebody that wants to be out in front, but I like to help. So I feel a kinship with Beaker, being like, I want to help. I don't want to be the big shot, but I want to be part of the action on the side.
And that's how you ended up as a TO, because you wanted to be on the side.
That's how it goes. That's how it goes. You want to help so much you can become too important at work.
There you go. Hey, Sam, I know we just got the counter pick in, but Sam's our lovely producer today. Everyone say hi to Sam. Before we talk about Clamwood Museum, can I get the logos again? I want to really do a deep dive on the Koalition, because we mentioned the avocado, but I don't quite understand what I'm looking at, Sam.
A very muscular avocado, which, you know, avocados actually have healthy fats in them. So if you're looking to
koalas eat avocados?
Do avocados hold on. Avocados in Australia, do those grow in Australia?
I feel like that they do.
Yes,
No.
Australia grows high quality avocados
What?
year round.
But
So
avocados from Mexico.
that's what I thought as well. But
Yeah.
it sounds like Australia is also is the contender for the #1 avocado producer against Mexico. And I didn't realize that koalas really like avocados. Let's look that one up. Koalas eat
Do koalas
avocado.
eat avocado?
Yeah. But they
known?
don't eat avocados.
So this is like a kinship, a friendship, but not a adversarial relationship. Hence the arm grab, a la that one meme of like we did it or whatever that means.
Yeah, we did. we did it.
What's the meme I'm thinking of? The one where it's the two guys and the joined arms and they're both really muscular. I'm not thinking of the Kamala Harris meme.
No. I know what you're talking about, but I don't know
thank you.
exactly what it's for.
Okay. Anyway, we got one more game. It's 1-1. Loser here, or sorry, the winner here, going on to another losers bracket game. There, they will decide who gets to go back up to winners bracket for a grand final. So a lot on the line for these teams. And let me tell you, the name of the game here, we've seen so many teams over the years in this position. The name of the game is keeping calm, keeping your mental in a good state, because it's not one game and then that's it. You got a lot of games ahead of you. So not winning this one, but making sure you're still in the place to keep it going. That's what these teams are going to have to find.
Yeah, and you also really got to try to lock down a really huge advantage before you want to make that big push. It could be 100-0 before you know it, but also sometimes you just kind of have to pick away at it depending on the defense that you're going against here. But we've already entered the first minute and seeing really decent picks here coming out from Broccoli on Pizza, but still not a lot of movement taking place. But finally, the brush is going to break through on the left-hand side here around the spinner. They're looking for the opening to try to get that power clam in, but Poland is kind of trying to come around from the backside, but not going to be able to have far enough reach. The Explosher, too, I want to make note, has come back out to play once again, and they are going to shut the push down at the 65 mark, but Broccoli on Pizza really had to kind of weasel their way through there to try to get that power clam to make contact.
And back to mid goes Koalition, a power clam at the ready and plenty clams at their disposal. It's about finding picks and utility now, but with one going down, that means that the utility off of Koala's pick, they're going to be only a trade. Blaze looking to make something happen from Broccoli. Called out, though, now. No clear way forward, and what a great job holding on there as Blaze stalling out the Koalition. So another couple moments for Broccoli on Pizza to get specials online, but not if you're going down left and right.
Yeah, and there's way too much purple on the screen here to really try to do anything with it here. Blaze is going to try to follow up on their recent pushback onto the Koalition, but it's not going to find too much value here. The tri-strikes maybe going to open up something here for Broccoli on Pizza. Finally going to make it back out into the midsection here, but still, okay, I was going to say, as I speak, now we have a power clam versus power clam situation. Economy at an all-time high here for Broccoli on Pizza. 21 clams in tow. But nobody making headway here getting into the basket area as the Koalition has spread their resources out very well, but unfortunately losing two in the process.
Now just another dogfight in mid. It's such a sucker punch to be in such a great position to move forward and not quite find it. Special when you need to pick when you do as you get stalled out like that. So the Koalition now maybe looking to get back in mid finally after giving some space up to Broccoli on Pizza, but they have to make better use here of their specials when they get them and prioritize life. A pick there on the far right side of Rat with that Octave rush, and now it's Broccoli on Pizza once again in mid, so not relenting here against Koalition.
Yeah, and look at Megu down below, able to take one, narrowly avoid the hammer, trying to play around with it, but that's Gang taking them down and actually opening the way for Koala to come on through because everybody is kind of looking down below the basket area. They're not quite looking up just yet, except for Blaze, who is trying to gun it out of the spawning area to see if they can prevent any further push from happening. It is only going to be a one power clam pop as we enter the last minute and a half in the game here. So the Koalition brush has to do something a little different here if they want to try to maintain their space but also get lead. And perhaps just bum rushing the spawning area of Broccoli on Pizza is going to be the method for success.
70 seconds left in this game, so every point matters double now, you can think, with 3 down for Koalition. So Pendulum swimming quickly the other way. It's Broccoli on Pizza. They're going to hold forward into mid to put paint down, find their own special. The Killer Whale is ready, so they need to find a way in. They can take lead back with just 2 of those power clams they have, 3 at their disposal if you include the pity. So playing slow, they don't want to make the wrong move, so every pick matters. A trade there on the right side. I'm not sure if I see a way in.
Yeah, Gang, and I believe that is, oh gosh, the screen's moving so fast. That's Boss having the power clam in their hands as well. There's still a huge wall of defense, though, against Broccoli on Pizza by the Koalition. The Koalition only having a 10-point lead here with a little bit of penalty. Actually, the penalty's the same, which is super interesting. So it's really just a 10-point difference here for each team to try to see if they can try to turn it around. Broccoli on Pizza really needs to do their best to infiltrate and change the lead here, but it seems to me the Koalition just needs to hold their cards close to their chest. They don't need to go out as far as Poland did there. And you can see that Megu is going to do just that. And especially with support from Koala and Dynaman here, the Tri-Strike's maybe going to open up something as we enter the overtime scene, but it's not going to really do too much because the triple splashdown is there as a great defensive tool, the wipeout occurring. That is the win for the Koalition. Unless Broccoli on Pizza can speed run their way to the other side. I'm not sure if that's going to be possible for them here, though. So that is going to be the Koalition moving on to losers finals.
Yeah, I mean, throwing everything they had at the basket twice in a row, and Koalition putting up a brick wall. Nowhere to move, nowhere to swim, nowhere to shoot some ink down. So a great, dominant defense there from Koalition. That is a mighty valuable skill. And Koalition went down to no creith, no bow, who now is sitting next. Did we have colors wrong, Saf? Oh no, okay, we're right. I have to fix the score now. Hold on, let me be a TO.
Yeah, let me pause my chatter to adjust something on the interwebs. The back end of Sendo.
Okay, the Koalition wins 2-1. Now a rematch of their winners bracket semis match. It's no creith, no bow waiting for them in losers finals. I mean, God. So the last time they played this, it went 3-1, no creith, no bow. But again, they've now been sitting on their hands for all of 15 minutes, maybe watching stream here so we could catch up to them. This is where we see scripts flip and things go different for the losers bracket team. If they've got some momentum, they're feeling good. But now we're back to best of 5.
Yeah, and it's worth noting too that 3-1 set, the Koalition was able to swipe one win off of no creith, no bow, whereas no creith, no bow was pretty much undefeated until that moment. And then finding themselves in the 3-1 split against M.A.D. just a little bit earlier. So a really good rematch to have, and according to seeding, to the seeding, no creith, no bow is seeded number 2 in all of this. The Koalition seeded number 12, so kind of fun that they get to see each other again at a different point in the alpha bracket to try to change, as you said, change the narrative. But I'm wondering here, if now that is the Koalition still pretty warmed up because they were able to play their set and now they are going into the next round, or is no creith, no bow well rested? Maybe we got a little bit of a stretch, a snack, a bathroom break, all of the essential nutrients for a really, really great meal here for no creith, no bow. And is that going to maybe change things with how the Koalition approaches it? But however, maybe knowing what the Koalition knows now against their earlier set in no creith, no bow, perhaps there is some stuff on the drawing board that has been changed as we open up into splat zones on Robo Ramen. I mean, who's to say? There's so many different predictions. We could speculate all day.
Get this, Saf. When they played in winners bracket semis, Koalition took game 1, Splat Zone Barnacle on dime, and then lost Rainmaker, Scorch, Rainmaker, Humpback, and TC Mako. So 2 modes that we didn't just see. The Koalition opting when it was their turn to counterpick to keep us in that zone's clams world. Were those counterpicks? Yeah, I can't read sendu.inc. Saf, do you remember who counterpicked what?
The counterpick was made by the Koalition.
Koalition, yeah. So Koalition
Yes.
opted to go zones and then clams, and they didn't counterpick that against no creith. So whether that is a comp difference, whether that is sort of, we learned our lesson, let's not go back there.
Or maybe they're all muppets. Who knows?
Or maybe, right. There's always that. But something for the back pocket here as the rematch happens in losers bracket finals.
So hold on. Back to the Koalition logo. We've discovered, we found the meme. We found the original meme that is based off of. And one thing I gotta say to the artist that made this, I appreciate that they kept it in the same style because it looks like it's like painted. It looks like acrylic paint or like watercolor or something. Because there's a lot of color variation in the arms. in the arms of the avocado man, humanoid avocado man, and the koala, anthropogenic koala guy, Animorph, if you will.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Sam. I'm glad we can get this up here. Let's do an art review.
You guys didn't think that you were going to be doing an art review today, but here we are. Or maybe you didn't think you would talk about Muppets, or Muppets are on your brain all the time, looking at you, Popgun, because you're a Muppet, but, you know.
Still there? Okay, yeah. Can we get the side by side? Do we see this? Do we see what I saw? So, okay, here we go. It's the epic handshake meme, also known as the Predator handshake. It's from a 1987 science fiction action film, Predator. Have you seen this, Saf?
Yes, I've seen Predator.
What's Predator about?
Predator is, it's kind of in the name, but Predator is about okay, you know what? Scratch that. I'm thinking of Alien.
Okay,
Hold on, I'm thinking of Alien. I got them mixed up.
That's okay. Okay, so Predator, it's a scene in the action sci-fi film. The character, that's Arnold Schwarzenegger on the right in the red shirt. He's surprised to see his old friend Dylan, and they exclaim something I'm not allowed to say on IPL broadcast, so you should go Google it yourself. Okay.
You didn't know we would be in film school either. We're having film studies.
No creep, no bow. The Koalition. It's losers finals. It's low wink. It's January. It's 2026. I think we can talk about Splatoon again.
Okay. If you insist. I'm still thinking about how Popgun is a Muppet and how to explain that.
Yeah, right? Okay, so here's the deal. We're gonna get through the set, and then we're gonna assign Muppet characters to all the players.
Okay, but first things first, I think our colors are backwards, but that is okay. Because no creith, no bow are the folks that are actually in orange, the Koalition being the ones in the blue side of things. Thank you so much. Already the Koalition, no creith, no bow had a pretty strong opening there, 73. But the Koalition is quickly going to turn that around. Again, very good at baiting their opponents. And what do I mean by that? But you could just see that Megu was just slicing up onto that little side area kind of near the spawning point, and two different members jumped down to try to see if they could get Megu out of the way. So I think the Koalition has really, really good odds here, because if you're able to make the opponent overstep, then you can utilize that to your advantage. But what happens if that kind of gets flipped on its head? Because no creith, no bow now with no penalty in sight has kind of done that, has had the recipe for success to do that. But the Koalition still, especially with that Explosher just has so much reach here, and with all the open space that this map has, the Explosher really is going to shine, because that allows the Koalition to move forward here and force the team fight to be against no creith, no bow. So kind of a tit-for-tat fight here as we try to take the zone, but no creith, no bow still looking at the lead.
Yeah, normally when you see a point score of 47, that was like a solid lockout, you moved up into the opponent's spawn, you kind of overextend, they find a pick, you back up, and then it flips. We just saw 2 minutes of gameplay over 70 points for both teams together going down, and no lockout in sight, just total team fighting in mid. It's only now no creith, no bow on their second half of zone, and their second push are going to find the lockout, pop the specials, coordinate here, and move forward. So complete just dogfight in mid. That's the theme for the Koalition. Well, now no creith, no bow, giving them sort of a taste of their own medicine.
Yeah, and doing it patiently too. Did you see Kenji down there, their brush player, was just kind of sitting in the ink for a while. And I love when you get to have a little bit of time to assess the risk, because it seemed to me that Kenji was doing just that, probably reloading a little bit, but maybe sitting on their hands a little too long, to quote you earlier, because no creith, no bow now completely forced back into their spawning area here, and the Koalition is going to be pushing forth. But once again, not going too far. They're able to see kind of all of the entry points that no creith, no bow could utilize, but has done a really fantastic job of making sure that there's not a lot of value to be found here. And now with having no penalty in the way of their own, it's going to be a perfect recipe for disaster for the Koalition. And even when no creith, no bow tries to utilize a resource to throw out there, quickly the Koalition is there to cover her up and is going to be taking the lead at that.
So I've decided that Dynaman is Sweetums from the Muppets. That's the really big one. And that's all I can say. So everyone at home, go Google that while the Koalition desperately tries to hang on to their cap, and that they do. 10 picks remaining. And I mean, no lockout anywhere. Just complete team fight in mid, and no kid no to their credit, taking advantage of that backup from Koalition, getting a quick cap, and will apply some healing points. Live another day.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say that the Koala. Wait, hold on. Do we have overlap between Sesame Street and the Muppets? Am I like?
They're both Jim Henson. So they're both like the same style of puppet, that being a Muppet style puppet, and they're both made by the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, because I was gonna say if we can overlap them, I'm feeling like Koala is Big Bird.
Oh.
Because like
good.
because the team name kind of focuses around them, so I'm feeling like Koala might be the Big Bird of the bunch on the Koalition here. And especially with the amount of paint that's being drawn out from the Koalition, I mean, they had a really good eye on trying to cap the zone there, but the Reef Slider was immediately going to shut that down from No Creith No Bow. Now them looking at the driver's seat and getting into the single-digit area, flipping the lead once again. Nobody in sight from the Koalition. Dynamans trying to do it on their own. Sweetums, I'm so sorry, but that is going to be No Creith No Bow taking game number 1.
I like that like in your mind painting the zone is just such a Big Bird thing to do. You're like, and in Big Bird fashion, there they go, and they get the cap. They paint the zone. It's really beautiful to apply.
Stand tall. Stand tall, Big Bird.
There you go. Right. Yeah. Okay, game 1, No Creith No Bow. Finally beating Koalition on Splat zones. They weren't able to do that last time they faced off. So, you know, getting some energy back. And you know, I feel like that story of the loser bracket team keeping the momentum moving through, it takes one game to knock you on your butt and not have that momentum anymore. So No Creith No Bow, I mean, yeah, maybe they got their snacks, their healthy food pyramid, but okay, Koalition going back to Splat zones though. They fear no man.
Yeah, I think, was this not the counterpick that we saw last time too? Like Koalition also counterpicked Splat Zones Mahi. So we're seeing a repeat of that. And Brush, I want to add to that, I think Koala is multi-talented, much like our friend Big Bird. Because according to Wikipedia here, Big Bird can roller skate, ice skate, dance, swim, sing, write poetry, draw, and ride a unicycle. Can Koala do any of those things? I hope the Koalition can answer, because they're being awfully quiet about the accusations that they're playing with Big Bird.
Splatoon triathlon, but instead of swimming, running, and biking, is that a triathlon? They're gonna have to ice skate, roller skate, and win at Splatoon 3 in low lane. I think there's something there, but maybe not take a swim. We're on Mahi Mahi Resort.
Yeah, I feel like that one's gonna have to go on the back burner until we're in a different game where swimming actually doesn't take you out of the match if you would still like to play in the match. But okay, so a little bit of a comp change here. Koala's actually going to go even. Big Bird's going even smaller with the red dapples.
Yeah, whoa! What happened to our Dynamo and our whole? That was like our whole. Oh, okay. We're still got Dynaman on. Oh my God, the weapons down.
The exposure.
Thank you.
I'm open.
Rusty as hell. I gotta write this down. And wow, coming out fast and hard. It's the Koalition now with an early cap and aggressive one.
Yeah, and I appreciate that even that No Creith No Bow is going a little bit more of the meta route, if you will. They're using that Viper. They have the vanilla dually, so they will have a crab tank in tow at some point, and they're using the pen as well. But the Koalition, I mean, I haven't seen one member of the Koalition not have a special here, unless you're somebody like Paper. So Paper is a human that lives on Sesame Street. Just with that play right there, human that lives on Sesame Street, because I don't think a Muppet could pull that off.
You're right. Their hands are too. You don't have enough fingers to snap with the pencil. What a beautiful little shot. And a hammer coming out for Kenji now. Holding forward, 3 go down. None actually to the hammer's wrath directly, but being forced into a teammate. Getting called out there by a triple splashdown from Dynamite. So utility to stay alive and let their team come back online. Lead still in their favor. Looking for a way in. A 3v3 though as respawns come out. And not a way to cap the zone quite yet. No bow doing a great job tracking their opponents, and there comes the flip. So a back and forth game, not the style I think that we've been seeing from them.
Yeah, not too much. So with Pollen launching those missiles too, that's a great tracking tool to use against No Creith No Bow. But thankfully, No Creith No Bow nowhere to be found near the zoning area at the moment here. Finally going to try to break out over onto the left-hand side though. Pollen is really doing a great job locking it down on the left here. But that's not going to be for long as Kenji is going to break through and end Poland's raid of terror over on the side and actually going to utilize that space as much as they can. But with Megu in tow standing on the side, you're going to already opt for a jump for Poland to come back in. So down, but certainly not out. No Creith No Bow now holding on to the zone here, but still there is so much from the Koalition to be had. And Brush, I was going to say earlier, I have not seen the Koalition not have a special online for most of this game. At least one person has had a special at the ready. Every time I've looked up at the screen here to look at the Koalition, except for right now. This is but
well, there's another one popped immediately.
That's what I'm saying. Like they're prepared. The preparedness is on the side of the Koalition, especially when you have 3 members down. Where's the zone coverage from No Creith No Bow? There it is.
Look, if there are it flips again. If there are 2 schools of thought for special usage, one might be charge them up, top them together, move forward, and another might be like to the tri-strike of you can either throw them all in one place or stagger them. Just stagger your specials for 5 minutes straight and hope for the best. And it seems like the Koalition trying to use a little bit of that magic, so the difficulty becomes how do you break back into zone? You're dependent of people like Koala with the Dapple Doolies finding a way in behind, ignoring the typical fight, and that's a ticket to go. So Dynaman able to sort of capitalize on that. Finally, utility, a Booyah Bomb comes out. Cap should flip here unless the Reef Slider says no.
Yeah, the queuing of events, the Reef Slider was able to come out victorious, and that one, the Booyah Bomb, just seconds beforehand. But still, there is a triple splashdown on the wings by the Koalition for Dynaman. And you can see that No Creith No Bow is doing their best to try to get out of the spawning area. But again, the Koalition has such a good spread of resources. They can see where all of the entry points are here, just like in Robo Ramen, and they're really good at diversifying where they need to focus their efforts here. But No Creith No Bow was able to break through and just really in the last couple of seconds hold on to the zone here. Maybe the stamp and the oh my gosh, the car Reef Slider will be able to cap the zone here. Sorry, I'm still thinking about Muppets. Will cap the zone here, and it was just enough for the zone to get capped for the Koalition. But No Creith No Bow has a really far way to go here with not much time left to do it.
One of the first times I was on the mic in Splatoon 3, I couldn't remember Zipcaster to save my life. I just kept saying Spider-Man. The first time it was pretty good. It just sounded like I was like being a good commentator with a metaphor. The second time it became clear that I didn't know what I was doing. But we got to Reef Slider in the end. So I think in this case we're saved from that.
Yeah, and I really like that Koala is still here with the juice at the ready here as we enter into overtime. The No Creith No Bow, again, really has a lot of ground to cover here, but there's so much power from the side of the Koalition. They're going to force us into another tied set situation. However, this was a similar story to what we saw last time. The Koalition was able to swipe one win off of No Creith No Bow. No Creith No Bow really set the stage here, winning the first game. What's going to happen next, though? Because now, okay, finally, SWAT zone's off the table, Brush. We're done. We're done. We have to pick something else now.
We know No Creith No Bow has won against Koalition on Rainmaker and Tower Control. So if I'm them, I'm trying to not and I've been watching stream if I'm No Creith No Bow, right? I just got free intel while Zaf and I, meandered on and yammered on about the Muppets. So I'm watching stream, maybe with it muted, figuring out what there is to learn about my opponents, the Koalition. I've learned, okay, Clam Blitz and Splat Zone, they do well there. Let me not counterpick that. So Rainmaker, Tower Control, I think, somewhere to go. Rainmaker Scorch, Rainmaker Humpback. Both maps I could see them succeeding on.
Yeah, I agree. I think Rainmaker would be the best course of action to go, at least mode-wise, to go to next. And I do think, especially with somebody like, especially if you're no creith, no bow, I guess is what I want to say. It seems to me that the Koalition, with utilization of the X-Splosher, they tend to play a little bit more slowly, and especially when they have Dynamo on their side, a lot slower gameplay and also a very mindful backline to maintain their space as much as possible, playing at range, if you will. So I'm hoping that maybe a faster game mode for no creith, no bow will be the better option, because you don't want to give any sort of time for that slower backline to get set up anywhere. And especially in something like Rainmaker Humpback, where it's a very wavy, if you will, very wavy stage, and there's not really a lot of like solid high ground points that have a really good vantage point where you can see stuff. So maybe trying to negate that backline from getting set up could be a really good recipe for no creith, no bow.
Yeah, I mean, what? Okay, I was gonna.
Oh, that was close.
About
okay.
Humpback. I was gonna talk about Humpback Sapphire. Let me talk about Scorch Gorge though, right? Similar to what
Cancelled.
I was gonna say. Yeah. Height differential. Your buckets are your friends. Your dynamos can even have a lot of utility here. So, we've seen less shooters from both of these teams than I think a lot of other. We've seen some aggressive stuff, but this is where, those ink brushes, those ratty things are going to have some fun. But more importantly, I think weapons that do well with height differential, Dread Ringers, your X-Sploshers, that's going to be the name of the game here. If you can get set up on that top left in that little perch area when you're pushing forward, you have a lot of utility on that first checkpoint. Then you can snowball and move straight ahead.
Fresh, are you a piano player by chance?
Should I answer yes or no?
I think you should answer truthfully.
Do you want the truth from me? I grew up playing piano, among other instruments.
Okay, I knew it. You're Rolf the dog. That's your Muppet.
I'm Rolf? No. That can't be it. I feel like, so I always got animal as a kid, because I also played drums.
Oh, okay.
A lot as a kid. But recently, I've been feeling like a Waldorf, or what's his friend Stadler, the two old guys in the booth being curmudgeons.
That's me and you this morning. That's
watching Splatoon and talking about anything but
going up from the booth.
Yeah, right, exactly. Okay, comps. What do we got? Give me something. Make me feel like a smart commentator. Okay, so that's kind of good. That's, you know what? I'll take a bucket on each side. I'll take a Dread and an X-Blow and call that a win for me.
Yeah, the Dread Ringer will be really useful here, but also, yes, the X-Splasher. So not really a lot of changes, but I love this 96 pick from Poland. I think that this particular version of 96 is always really fun to watch. What's it called? The kit that it has, I think, is really fun and interesting. I like that this is their cooler pick, and especially with the marker. I'm deeply entertained by marker. Can I just say I'm deeply entertained when somebody can get a pick with marker. I think it is so funny. And I just feel like we need to be talking about that more when it is used. Oh, and a point-blank hammer from Kenji. That is an insult to injury to the Koalition, as No Creith, No Bow looks to try to get a really small lead in the first opening minute here. Still having really firm hold on the center stage, though. Megu, though, you gotta be watching for this one, man. Megu is the Infiltrator. If we had to give them a nickname, they would be the Infiltrator, because consistently I am seeing them down in the middle section. Even if there's not a whole lot to work with, they're there to try to call out some players of No Creith, No Bow. But it seems to me that the Koalition is really good in response to that, because already No Creith, No Creith, No Bow is really quick to respond, but the Koalition is already here to try to pick up that Rainmaker Gens with 2 specials ready to go. And maybe with a little help from that sploosh, we can really lean into our inner rat and get in and infiltrate into the backside.
I don't know, Sap. It's been 1 minute and 30 seconds that I'm looking at a Rainmaker still at the starting pedestal. Finally now, as I say that, as all good commentators would, the Rainmaker will move forward and find a checkpoint, but I don't know if they've got much more utility. Felix locking down the pencil from below. The rest of the team up top. Only one special. It's the Booyah Bomb coming out from Koalition. That'll be matched with a hammer and more from No Creith, but that's a huge pick win.
Ooh.
And 2 down. We'll look for the third. It's Koala with the sploosh. The Rainmaker will move forward. 30 ticks and counting. Going straight all the way forward. So, as we all know, Saf, a commentator has to say something obvious for things to change.
Yeah, what the heck is Koala doing? What did I say? They show up as a koala, but really on the inside they're a rat, because they were able to go all the way around the finishing pedestal and back down and still make it out alive. They picked up the Rainmaker, got it a few more ticks down to the 16 mark, but 2 members down on the side of the Koalition. I think that's going to be where we put the stop to that here if we're no creith, no bow. Felix following up with the Rainmaker, looking back in the middle section. The Crab is going to really open up some space here as all 3 members of No Creith, No Bow try to push forward around this left-hand side again. It's so hard because you want to take the other Rainmaker path if you can, but it just never makes sense to. It's a very small window for when you can do that, and it looks to me that maybe No Creith, No Bow is just biding their time a little bit, thinking about what they want to do next. But how can you do that when Megu is already there to respond, and now you're 3 members down with specials in tow? The Koalition is not letting go here.
Deciding whether or not to push, however, is a different question, a different risk analysis. So opting not to grab the Rainmaker, instead placing splat zones. They know they're good at it, so just blocking out mid, but it means that you give more space to No Creith, No Bow than maybe you need to. So back to sort of like a beginning of the game position. We're shooting at the Rainmaker. Paint is pretty even, looking for the starting pick. So look at the special advantage for Koalition, as I can't say their name anymore. Some specials at the ready, so seeing if they can take advantage and move forward has been the name of the game.
Yeah, but again, you got to be watching out for someone like Koala, because if you go too far forward and Koala's in the corner waiting for you, I mean, what are you going to do? They have the short range advantage by a long shot with that sploosh, because it just fires all over the place. Your feet are immediately covered, like when you get even close to them. So No Creith, No Bow has to reassess how they want to do this here. Felix is really doing a good job covering the top end here, looking to see if they can pick up the Rainmaker themselves, especially with Kenji now taking down 2 different players. What's indeed needed here for No Creith, No Bow, and they have an opening to do just that, but now a go down. The Reef Slider also going to try to open up a little bit, but there's still enough reach for the Koalition to shut that down as well. And unfortunately, you find yourself in the wipeout position. The Koalition just needs to bide their time here.
Koala trying to now stall that Rainmaker in that bottom left pit. 20 seconds to go. Their team sort of leaving them alone means that Zor is looking to sort of get an overtime opportunity. Dynaman now, the only one watching over that Rainmaker. They will find the pick though, so it's just Paper here trying to make some things happen last second for this overtime, but they're forced to jump out and the Rainmaker will pop. No one nearby to grab. Koalition doing a great job holding on there in the final moments.
Yeah, finally, like you were just saying earlier, changing the narrative, right? We now have 2 wins under our belt for the Koalition against No Creith, No Bow. A total of 3 wins in general, but the wind is in the sails for the folks on the Koalition. This is a really good spot that you want to be, because now counterpicking still for No Creith, No Bow, which they did not have experience in before against the Koalition. So maybe a little bit more of a discussion on the back end on how we do counterpick number 2. Rainmaker Scorch didn't quite work out, but do we pick Rainmaker again? Having another fast game mode, or do we pick something a little bit more slow? Something like Tower Control, where it's a consistent pace. I guess in this situation where you are on the set point, about to lose set point, what I guess it's a discussion of like what would find us the most success here while we are down.
Yeah, I mean, and if you're a team that was sailing through today, No Creith, No Bow went 2-0 in round 1, 2-0 in round 2, 3-1 against the Koalition in round 3, and then finally lost 3-1 against M.A.D, who's sitting up ahead in winner's bracket. Their counterpick there was Rainmaker Undertow. that's where they won. And they weren't able to pull off on their other counter pick. It was just clam counter pick. So you actually haven't been in a position practicing what to play and where your team is good. And so to team's credit, we saw counter picks, but on the flip side, like, it's a skill. You have to be on the back foot, and No Creith No Bow has had a smooth sailing day today.
And counter pick is maybe taking its sweet time to be chosen, because you have to wonder what's happening in that voice chat right now, like what's being of risk assessment of what is going to find us the most success here. No Creith No Bow has been playing with leaning more towards the meta side of things. How do you want to maybe give advantage to your pencil player, to Felix? Your anchor, how do you give them a better advantage to be more helpful to us on the front? And two, on what game mode you want to play. Again, do you want to play something a little bit slower, give yourself a little more time to get that pencil player set up? Do you want to play something, again, that's a little more...
Hello, friends, and welcome back. We got some Rainmaker action. I'm solo casting for now, gang, so we're gonna see what happens here. You'll see it looks like Koalition has been able to take a little bit of a lead. It's gonna go back the other way though here as we sort of find our footing in this match. It's No Creith No Bow. Currently on the back foot. So here we go. We lost our stream for a moment, but that matters not, because the game must go on. Only a sort of a minute and a half here is what we missed. 3 go down for the Koalition. It's No Creith No Bow playing a great defense now. Kenji moving forward with his Octave Brush. So a big comp switch up here for No Creith No Bow. An E-Leader scope coming out, getting a lot of range for this map mode. Welcome back, Sap. As you know, we get to actually live stream and talk about Low Ink again.
Yeah, I was in the back room. There's actually a lot of Muppets working on the server, and we had to go. And I had to go and talk to them and make sure that we were still mupping doing the thing. Anyways, back to Low Ink. We have a 10-point differential here. 3 minutes left to go, and an even spread of 2v2. But still, again, the specials brush. Consistently, the Koalition is ready with specials in their hands to try to cause some damage here. And they're going to take the Rainmaker too. So we did opt for Rainmaker. We're on the Museum. So still, a faster way to play the game. A faster game mode to have. Explosher definitely is still the slower of the special, or of the backlines. But you have something like an E-Leader with so much reach, but is it going to matter if you have the Koalition knocking on your door, looking for donations now down to the 34 mark?
Is the Koalition in your headcanon like a Salvation Army sort of deal, like just looking for signatures for some... Or is it...
Koalas.
I see, okay, I'm with you now. Sure, save the koalas, but not quite yet as they get wiped out 4 down. But a good point advantage there, 25 on the board for them. And that's not, you know, the most comfortable winning push on Museum, but it's definitely a step in the right direction. No Creith No Bow now looking to make some of the same magic happen at the door. That bucket gonna go down though to Megu. So I mean, just domination in mid, and 3 will find their way. So the Koalition doing a great job just finding the target. Everyone sort of snaps that way, gets rid of them in mid. Great team play here, especially on the map so much.
Yeah, the Koalition, I do feel that they had a little bit more of a warm-up going against No Creith No Bow again, maybe sitting for a little too long. The pop of that Rainmaker that Paper was holding onto was just a tad bit too early. There was still a lot of members of the Koalition there and ready to play, and not a lot of space to work with if you were Paper to move that Rainmaker forward. Hopefully maybe Kenji can try to open us up here, as now the No Creith No Bow team is going to be taking the Rainmaker once again. But the specials coming out from the Koalition, it's going to be a very limited space to work with to try to find safe passage. But with 3 members down, Brush, this could be really make the difference here, narrowly escaping that triple splashdown, still having the Rainmaker in tow with plenty of time to work with, and the members of the Koalition are a little bit trapped in their spawn, but still, Paper is going to have to be forced back, but still a lot of presence on this platform here. No Creith, no Bow really needs to hold firm, but it's just Kenji that is going to be the one to do that.
Great job just targeting the objective there by the Koalition on that defense. They're doing a great job recognizing it by Poland. Oh, everyone is moving the wrong way. Aldrich just solo the Rainmaker. No one to watch it here. And a great victory for Walla. You know, an aggressive player to be grabbing the Rainmaker, but when you're stalling at the end, hold ZR, wait for the thing to charge, throw it out at your feet, and that'll be the set win for them. A reverse of what happened to them before by No Creith, No Bow. They're going up now to winner's bracket for grand finals against M.A.D.
I think we gotta start calling Brush the Oracle, because he was saying, like, and so this is where it will reverse, and so it shall be. The ancient texts have now been written. That is the Koalition taking a 3-game sweep against No Creith, No Bow. No Creith, No Bow had a really strong opening there in the Robo Ramen game, but no, the Koalition was going to lock it down completely, taking 3 games under their belt, moving forward too into the bracket at that. So that is the Koalition moving forward. They have finally knocked their way out of the loser side of things. Congratulations to them. Unfortunately, No Creith, No Bow is going to be sent packing. And again, I want to know, according to the seeding, if the seeding matters to you, if the points matter to you, No Creith, No Bow is seeded second. So that is your second seed getting knocked out of the competition. The Koalition is going to be coming forward as seed number 12. And in the grand finals slot against M.A.D, it is your 12th seed and your 14th seed going head-to-head. And I want to note again, as something that Keon said earlier, M.A.D had not dropped a single game for the entire day until they went against No Creith, No Bow. No Creith, No Bow was able to take 1 game off of them, but they were the winners and the successors in the winners final side of things, now finding themselves into grand finals, and the Koalition has knocked some teeth loose to come back up into the grand final seat. So this is going to be super entertaining, and I think, now correct me if I'm wrong, I was doing a little bit of Sendo page deep dives. M.A.D has some pretty significant results under their belts with like teacup, milk cup from the Ink Up, all for one. They have a lot of tournament wins underneath them, and now I believe finding their first win in the low ink side of things, which is super exciting if you're on the team of M.A.D. But wasn't there was a pickup? Not a pickup. Maybe it's the Koalition actually. It was like a what is it? The Stars? Oh, I already forgot. No, it was there's a Stars of the something. It was a team that I have seen in low ink a lot, but then there was a team that was playing that was like a pickup of all of them. I don't think they made it through though. Maybe it was No Creith, No Bow that I was thinking of.
I gotta tell you, Saf, something I'm finding really interesting doing my own Sendu deep dive is No Creith, No Bow has faced M.A.D twice, lost twice. But this is the first time Koalition and M.A.D are going to measure up against each other. And yeah, let's talk about seeding. 12th and 4th seed. So here's what you should know about low ink seeding. We do an in-depth verification process on every single player in the whole tournament. So if you're a player in this tournament, one of our verification staff members has looked at you, looked at your results recently, looked at your results old, looked at who you play with, what you've won, what you've lost, every individual set you've played ever, and determines that, okay, you're ready to play in low ink. And a benefit of that is we actually know a lot about these teams.
You're coming with me. You're ready to play in low ink.
Exactly, right? Welcome aboard, or get lost. Sorry, you won, against Div 3 teams 17 times. But here's the deal. We don't take that information and then do some arithmetic to determine exactly a seed order 1 to 100 or whatever. This is a big tournament. We can't really do that. So instead, we put teams in groups and we see the extremes. So if you're at the top of the top or the bottom of the bottom, we've sort of looked at you and gone, oh wow, you've got a great chance of winning this thing. Somewhere in the middle, though, it's sort of a ballpark number. So to say that these teams are 12 and 14, that means our verification team went, look, these guys are good. They've got a chance of winning the whole thing, and they're about the same level. So seeing them here at the tippy top is no surprise, and seeing them at the same level is equally not surprising.
Okay, and to follow up on my last thing where I just kept saying stars and not really know what the heck I was talking about, Stars Guardians of Chaos. Stars Guardians of Chaos has played in low ink. I can't even count how many times. So many times. And so, No Creith, No Bow was a bit of a pickup of the folks from Star Guardians of Chaos, plus or minus a couple people. So that is really fun to see Star Guardians of Chaos come this far, because I've always known them as, like, a higher beta bracket team, and so it's fun to see them in alpha bracket, because I was like, wait a minute, like, I recognize some of these names. Where are you guys from? Star Guardians of Chaos. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that answers that question for me. You just gotta do a little bit of research. It's almost like doing your own research gives you results. Who would have thought?
There you go.
Unreal.
Okay.
Anyways, M.A.D. So, what is it? Mutually Assured Destruction is what M.A.D. stands for.
Oh, that's good.
Against the Koalition. Mutually Assured Destruction. Like I said before, having pretty significant results. The Koalition, we've gotten to already watch so much today, and you can kind of draw your own conclusions about the Koalition. They have been on a killer run today, and especially punching their way back up into the winner's side of things, getting into grand finals. It's super exciting, and I think a lot of the folks here on the Koalition are actually not even from the US. None of them are from the US, actually. So that's something I always appreciate is seeing our friends in the European side of things coming through and pushing their way into the top side of our brackets or things that we run. And that already the opening game here, finally, grand finals of January 2026. All of your buzzwords here. It's the Koalition versus M.A.D. And already, I love what I'm seeing from the Koalition. I'm loving what I've been seeing from Abir today, Brush, because Abir has just been killing it today.
I thought you were about to talk about just like a nice coffee beverage, but no, it's a beer.
A Muppet!
Right, you're right. I love it. Okay. Look, we've seen Mako Mart in grand finals for game one for all but low ink for as long as all but one low ink for as long as I can remember, and that's because I put the wrong map in. So this is a great litmus test for these teams. It's a great litmus test for these two. It's a great litmus test now, despite, not quite following the formula for all the Splatoon 3 maps. And so being able to find the dominant lockdown, get set up, and prevent your opponent from moving forward, that's sort of a really good sign for the rest of the set. So we're going to find out here in just a moment. 40 ticks and counting for the Koalition, if that'll be enough for them to keep moving, or if M.A.D, mutually assured destruction, will find a way in and assure that the destruction solely for their opponents.
I've decided that it's actually Muppet Assured Destruction.
Okay.
And we can argue about that later, but Muppet Assured Destruction now punching their way through and taking some space here on the zone. And I believe our colors are switched again just a little bit because the Koalition is actually in pink.
So right.
Yeah, the Koalition being in pink, Muppet Assured Destruction is going to be in the blue. They had such a strong start at the beginning of this rush, but the Koalition finally here to stay. And Dynaman is going to be having that Dynamo again. So again, a backline that you don't really want to push too far forward. You want to be very defensive of, has the cooler in tow in a good spot to put it on the left stack here. But how is that supposed to work for you if you lose two of your players in the process, unfortunately? So that is going to be mutually assured destruction, taking back the zone, but not before losing two in the process.
And look at Koala flexing from what had been Dapple Doolies and aggression and crazy frontline stuff to now a Dreadringer, and playing it so aggressive that it allows not the Dreadringer to feel like the backline anchor, but it's the Dynamo, an equally sort of passive trusted weapon there. What a great synergistic comp there and play style switch up for what you normally expect from those weapons.
And I was saying that Koala was Big Bird because Big Bird is kind of the renaissance child of a lot of the Muppets, and Koala can just do it all here because with the weapon switch up now playing on the Dread, really big flexibility that you have to utilize for the folks on the Koalition, and looking to try to knock out this penalty as quickly as possible with especially a huge firm hold on mid. Once again, looking at all the entry points to see where the folks of M.A.D. are going to try and see if they can make waves here, but not really finding a lot of value. The Trizuka is going to come out, followed up by the Tri-Strikes, finally taking the zone back. A pretty easy zone flip there, considering the special usage, but still the Koalition is not far out of the way just yet. You did lose Megu in the process. Dynaman and Poland are kind of pushed over to the side. Koala's looking to try to enter from the right, but it seems to me that M.A.D. is going to do a very similar play style here in looking at the entry points and not really letting people try to come in here and taking the fight straight to them. But still, M.A.D. is in a really good seat here right now, Brush.
So I'm currently learning based on the Pats game on in my living room that we are quite synced up with the big moments over there. I say something loud, my roommate starts to clap in excitement. So if you want to have a really interesting experience, throw those up on your monitor side by side. But I promise you, none of the Muppets we're watching right now have the Pats game on. It's all Splatoon for them. And lockouts galore, and it looks like M.A.D. gonna deny the Koalition away in this time, finding a pick now on the respawn of Megu, looking for something with the Zipcaster. No pick coming their way quite yet, but a zone neutral will be theirs, and a cap will remain. No utility off of it. 15 hits remain for M.A.D., and they might find this first game in their pocket.
First game indeed, because that's a wipeout coming across the screen there. A huge win for M.A.D, knocking the Koalition down by 1 point here. You gotta appreciate the amount of effort the Koalition was utilizing because Koala pushed up so far for a little while with that Dread Ringer, but unfortunately, I felt bad for Megu not able to find too much value with that Zipcaster. There was a lot of distractionary tool that was utilized in the beginning there, but yeah, just not quite finding, I feel like, the pick that they were looking for. But it seems to me that M.A.D. is not somebody that's easily distracted. And you know what? This is just the Coalition's I've decided this is just their counter pick. This is just their counter pick now. There's no mystery here. If you were trying to theorize and theory craft, maybe make a really long YouTube video on how the Koalition decides their counter pick, look no further. It's always going to be Mahi zones to start.
Sendu has a little timer to see how far into the set you should be. Before it said game 1 start, we had counter-picked Splat Zone's Mahi. And that's the energy we have here from the Koalition. They're no stranger to the back foot. They have plenty of momentum coming into the set. The question is, can they keep it moving as they fight M.A.D. here? And, I mean, look, we saw a very different comp from them there. We saw a Dread Ringer come out not from Dynaman, rather coming out from Koala. We saw Koala, sorry, I would right there, and Dynaman there on the Dynamo again, which we have seen off and on, but we've seen a lot more Explo from that player. So I would venture to guess, Saf, that we'll go back to sort of the Mahi comp we know and love. The question is, what does M.A.D have up their sleeve to counter it?
Right, and okay, hold on. I'm so deep into Muppets right now.
No, please, I'm looking for
the Koalition, when we were on Mahi Zones last time, I believe we had Red Dapple, the Explo. Did we have a Pro and then a Stamper?
Sounds about right.
Yeah, I think that's about what we were cooking with here. So considering the tools that the Koalition wants to try to work with here, especially with that triple splashdown coming in from Dynaman as kind of a last-ditch effort, either defensively or trying to polish off the zone, it seems to me that the folks on M.A.D. want to use something that could give themselves a little more verticality. The double bucket here is going to be a really great choice, I think, especially with there's so much ledge camping to be done on the side of M.A.D. And I like the Brella pick here because originally when we got to see, I believe it was Clam's Museum that M.A.D. played before punching their way into the grand final spot, the Brella gameplay that was coming out was so huge from Stamper Dane because they were not only utilizing it as a shield, but their teammates were also utilizing it as a shield as well. They were trying to swim inside of it, but then also attack the opposing force that they were fighting against. So I love the Brella pick here. I think it's going to be really useful for the folks of M.A.D. And already that's proving to be true because we are 70 points.
It's like a get out of jail free card. Agent going down to the water. It's a get out of jail free card. That Tenterbo. We saw them there. Pop bazooka, find a pick, survive behind a pillow. Oh, they're about to die. Great, I got a tent shield back. So that's the sort of utility you're going to see out of it. And it's about the teammates there then to play around it. So the Koalition now in the driver's seat once again. They found the cap and the water levels changed. But you know, it's not absurd for M.A.D to say, oh, I'm just going to go around the side here and find another pick and get back in. The hammer is well there to help, though, going down is a beer. So, you know, back and forth. This is the Koalition that I remember from the last 2 sets. It's a question now of whether or not can they keep their advantage and steamroll their way forward.
I certainly think that they can, because if you're trying to take out Dynaman, chances are Dynaman's going to take you with them. Unfortunate timing for a beer there. But a great spot, again, for that triple splashdown to be, because it's not only covering that platform, but it's covering out everything else below, which is about half of the zone on the side of the Koalition. So M.A.D. Really needs to be utilizing those buckets to keep the ledges clear of any sort of triple splashdown antics that Dynaman can get up to. Just like over here, for example, good thing for Stanford Dane keeping a distance there, calling in Agent 8 for some backup, and it's going to find success. And with the lead lost at that, a really great coupling here for success on the side of M.A.D.
Agent 8, their wrath is not over. Teaming up there, you see a Booyah come out, and another pick again on Poland. So that's 3 sort of back-to-back now calling out Dynaman. They're going to find a trade, though, in the end on the Viper player. Koala, another trade. 5 ticks remaining. That's the stall you need to see in mid. And M.A.D. taking game 2 on Koalition's sort of favorite best friend, Mahi Zones.
And do you know the saying, the call's coming from inside the house?
I certainly do.
Yeah, that was what was happening with Agent 8 there, because what the heck, the call was coming from inside the house. They had the distraction of at least 2 members on the side of the Koalition to remove the threat that is Agent 8 that came through with the bucket there, and just toppling the timer there just a little bit so that there was enough space for the win to go into M.A.D's favor. Yes, the favored counter pick from the Koalition immediately shut down by M.A.D. Does the Koalition pick splat zones again? I'm wondering if that's a recipe for disaster, because it seems to me that M.A.D has splat zones very firmly in their grasp in terms of modes here. So what do you do again when you're in the back foot on a counter pick, especially in grand finals? You go Rainmaker, back pump track is what you do, Brush. My goodness.
I guess. Look, we talked about the height advantage. We talked about the wavy mid.
That's
and
a Muppet-looking choice.
It certainly is Muppet-ish, and it kind of plays well to the strengths of the Koalition's comps. I just don't know if it can overcome the aggression and the great job. You know, we saw multiple times M.A.D would have one player sort of in a sticky situation, barely get out by the skin of their teeth, and just go, hey friend, help me. And then all of a sudden Agent 8 is in your face. So, you know, seeing me, I don't know if that synergy is beatable as on Humpback Pump Track, where a map that's like sort of a split-second advantage can be the difference in a KO.
And it's in addition to that, the split-second KO, a lot of the distance is from that elbow to the final checkpoint. Like, a lot of the distance on this map is just in that straightaway, and you really have to be careful when you're taking the fight in that corner, and you have to watch what's coming behind you, because this is such a notorious spot to flank. And this is what we saw last time, okay? With the last time we were on Rainmaker Humpback and we were with M.A.D, this is the exact comp that we saw before. You had Agent 8 switching to the Blaster, you had a mini Talent picked up the Junior from what they were doing before. They were traditionally backlining before, so now they're going to play the Junior, and then you have a Beer now picking up the Dynamo. So you have a Dynamo versus Dynamo composition, no shooters in sight on the side of the Koalition. So I think a really big thorn in the side is going to be taking out Talent, because the amount of paint output that can be put down can actually get you the checkpoint within the first 30 seconds.
A beer grabs the Rainmaker, dunks it quick. It's Talent moving up ahead, looking for an advantage. Now the hammer comes out for Stamper Dame. 2 picks up ahead. Talent once again grabbing the Rainmaker, holding forward, doing some squid rolls to stay alive. Gonna be able to narrowly keep away from that Reef Slider and getting a couple more points. So 25 as the Kraken comes in. Respawn's already out for M.A.D. They're not done. Agent 8 on the far side. Now going down is a beer and Sharking, trying to just make anything last happen. Not going to be able to find the pick on the Rainmaker grab. That's Dynaman, and dropped into mid for safety. Koalition lives another day. 25 points remain for M.A.D. We're only a minute in, Sam.
Yeah, big adjustment there to try to remember that Agent 8 was there, because I feel like we had some players of the Koalition turn around and be like, oh yeah, there's that, and then completely turn around and not do anything about Agent 8 being there. Luckily, Agent 8 was just out of range to cause any real damage just then, so Koalition had some breathing room to take the Rainmaker out of possession and out of the platform area near the final checkpoint there. You have to be super careful. But still, the Koalition is now going to be throwing a really strong punch in response here. Koala picking up the Rainmaker, but still, Agent 8, there they are, standing up on the opening with the blaster. They're going to take Koala down immediately here, and it looks to me that M.A.D. is going to try to take back as much paint as they can, especially with Talent on that junior, saying the this way as well. That is a really major giveaway that something is happening over on the side. Megu is going to be the successor in that battle, though, but nobody to pick up the Rainmaker. So huge distractionary tool by M.A.D. The Koalition is really going to have to hold strong here if they want to try to make a difference.
I gotta say, I feel like I've been transported back to Splatoon 2. You've got double Booyah on a Humpback, some like crazy Humpback pump track lore in Splatoon 2. You've got M.A.D, yes, with the Junior. I feel like I'm watching gameplay I've seen a million times, and yet it's so different. It's fast. It's crazy, and now it's been stalled in mid for 2 minutes. I mean, this is stuff that you would not get to see if it were not these two teams on this day. Man, just some really fun stuff here coming out while we're stuck in a stall.
Yeah, you have not only that, but you have a really interesting Dynamo 1v1. You have a Dynamo that tends to play more to the backline, and then you have someone like a Beer who plays a lot more aggressively. And it's seeming to me that the Dynamo is going to play more aggressively as well, because they are pushed all the way up with their teammates. It's actually Talent that is holding out the back end here for M.A.D.
Yellow. It's all yellow. Where's the Rainmaker? Where's the Rainmaker?
Oh, it's in the center. It's in the center. Okay. I was like, so nobody's picking up. We're just going to be playing the game on the side of the Koalition spawning area with 3 members spawning out. Agent 8 in a perfect spot to respond, taking 2 members down. 1 narrowly escapes the clutches. But the Koalition finally back out into the center stage here. M.A.D, though, was there first. It's like, yeah, you guys are here, but we were here first, and still the Koalition has not even come close to grabbing the Rainmaker again from the clutches of M.A.D, but maybe that could be Poland's chance to change the narrative here.
I don't understand. The whole map was yellow. M.A.D had such a great opportunity. Instead, they opted to play splat zones for some reason and just push all the way up without the objective. Now 54 seconds remain. It might pay off, though, as the Koalition is unable to find advantage, and it's Stamper Dame moving in with the hammer, looking to keep it moving, and 2 go down in their favor. They might push again with 40 seconds remaining.
Yeah, you got Bubble out, the Stamper just expired there, and you have the Cooler. These are the ingredients to try to make the push happen. And 3 members down, Brush. Oh my gosh, we have the best ingredients on the house here. We literally didn't go to a commercial grocery store. We went to like the really expensive one, like a Co-op or something, and we had the perfect ingredients to make this meal. But still, again, M.A.D is going to choose to stall. Instead, they have all eyes focused on where the members of the Koalition are going to be, because they know the Koalition are the ones that have to rush and get the Rainmaker as quickly as possible.
Oh.
How do you do that with Stamper Dame there to take 3 of you out and force the wipeout? A huge storybook close by M.A.D, a 3-0 sweep into your grand finals.
Oh, you're clipping the hell out of that if you're Stamper Dame. I mean, your whole team went down. It was just you. The map was purple for the first time in 5 minutes, and you get 3 picks with a hammer and win the whole thing. M.A.D. wins Low Inc. January 2026 from the winner's side. They dropped like 3 games across 2 days, only 1 set loss in round 6. I'm astonished. The power we just saw from them, Saf. There was nothing mutually assured about that destruction. Maybe Muppet, I can't say, but certainly only the koalas going
to
down.
the game. They mupped the mupping game. Congratulations to M.A.D. I want to point out too, if you were to go to the Sendo archives and check out what M.A.D. has been doing, there is no low ink results. There's nothing. There's other tournament results there. They thought that today was the day that we're like, yeah, this is the day we're going to try to get our low ink result. And a low ink result at that, they just won the whole thing. I mean, my goodness, where do you go from here after that?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's not unusual to see teams show up to low ink and be like, oh, you know what? I think I'm going to be good at Splatoon in this context, you know? I'm super impressed by the synergy they showcased, especially in that last couple games in grand finals there. Just some really beautiful gameplay. The Dynamo, so fun to watch. Stamper Dame. So just, I mean, Saf, I feel like we've seen a masterclass in synergy, especially, which is honestly, sometimes it feels like a low ink rarity. And I want to see them play more. Maybe some mid-level tournaments up ahead for M.A.D.
Yeah, I sure hope so. I mean, you're riding on some pretty successful wind here in your win on the low ink. I really hope that we get to see M.A.D. in the mid-level circuit sometime soon. But Brush, a Sunday afternoon spent with you, and the first time on the mic together, I mean, my goodness, what a mupping day.
What a mupping day. I'm going to very quickly jump us over the credits here. Gamma bracket was won by Altruist in a bracket reset. We still got a couple games in beta to finish up. It looks like a bracket reset underway there. Thank you all so much from me and the entire Low Ink team. Our stream producer today, Sam. A blast as always, Saf. Where can folks find you?
Don't look for me. Please don't find me.
No,
I'm
I think
here.
that's fair.
I'm here. Don't find me. You can find me running Sea Battle, which is soon. You can find me doing a bunch of stuff for Splatoon tourney. Even though Falco, Kion, and Toma are my goats and they carry me through a lot of it. You can find me hanging out in the LAN server, talking about LANs. You can find me on Beep sometimes, hosting episodes. You can find me mupping about with Brush on the mic up for Low Ink sometimes. Brush, where are you at?
You can find me on my living room couch trying to learn football during this Pats game. All right, I'm going to say it one more time from all of us here at Low Ink, IPL, our stream producer, Sam. Thank you all so much, and we will see you next month in February for Low Ink 2026 February.